could sit here and read live commercials and just make tons of money for the company. I could tell you the same thing over and over again.
I can't be tagged as the guy who's a dick.
They must be so jealous of me. I'm so successful, and they're just kind of not. You know what I mean? I feel the jealousy. That's why I don't leave my house. Don't you also sort of harbor some resentment, even though it's not logical, but you resent your baby for being in the way of your career?
Because we don't want the Japs anymore, man.
Because I want respect.
Some people say our show was the first reality show. I don't think there's one thing I've ever said on the radio that would have been found indecent or obscene. The secret to my show is honesty, reality, that I will say the truth.
And I'll be damned if I'm going to let Paramount steal you right out from under me. I will go to Barry Diller. I will go to Jeffrey Katzenberg if I have to. Look, I don't carry a gun. I don't believe in. I don't know how to shoot. I don't care about that. But I do know how to street fight, and I will street fight with these son of it. You don't think I'm hooked up? You know what I have done for this industry? I will go to Kevin Feige if I have to. Tell your superiors at Paramount. I will punch them right in the dick if they come at you in the same way again. And I want to be notified in advance. Thank you very much.
You can let them know at the Private Parts 27th anniversary party. Exactly what you want.
Anyway, that's the golden tones of Davyd, who if I think the one thing Don Buchwald regrets is he didn't represent 10% of your hairline, because you could supply all of West Hollywood with that Cleveland Brown scalp of yours.
That's more than Howard could do with his hairline. So yeah, it's true.
And this is a bucket list of yours. Davyd has been trying to get on a stern. He's been on the Deppening. Countless times, almost half the time, and every single time you try to crowbar a Howard reference in and try to steer me down that evil path, and I take the bait once in a while. Yeah. But you were on the show. This group right here is with Bon Jovi, of course. Here, but I don't know if you have a sound effect queued up or anything.
Okay.
How was that?
Long
I don't
one.
know. You put me on the spot there.
No, I did, and you could have done anything you wanted to. I think that is a Australian football chant. You chanting USA?
Yeah. Yeah. At the moment, yes, it is.
So say hi to Davyd, everyone. This guy.
Give him. He's talked. You're right. What you just said, John. He's talked about Stern on this show for maybe hours. Yeah, on the Deppening, for probably hours all added up. So he doesn't need any training. I know, John, you were saying maybe we should train him. He needs to know who Gary is, Fred. he needs to know that JD sucks. But no, that none of that occurred. He can just barrel into it, isn't that? I think you said that, John. You said he'll barrel through it.
Such scintillating repartee. I get better conversation from the android.
You.
Exactly.
Maze and an emphatic stroke of Byzantine whimsy.
We're dueling drops right now, John and I.
Honestly, between the two of you, it's like we could just ride out the whole show with drops. Yeah.
Oh my God, is that someone at the door, John? Davyd, did you love the door knock thing that Howard has been doing for the last few years? Give us your opinion on the door knocking.
Well, it just reminds. I feel like that was a WNBC. He's just shoehorned his career, or horseshoe, not shoehorned, horseshoed his career back to.
You see what happens when you play around in Paramount? You lose your vocabulary. You see?
Exactly. I know, right?
That's what happens to me. Exactly, John.
I want to be the first to say, I couldn't be more proud that Davyd, Paramount is lucky to have you. This better not impede with not just the Deppening, but your new hookup, your new Depp adjacent hookup via JB. That better not affect that, because you know where we're going with that. I couldn't be more proud. I know you people don't like Paramount typically, but I think
No.
it'll probably smooth over. I don't know how you people are represented in Paramount. I don't think much, but maybe this is a new age. And I couldn't be more proud.
Thank you, John. Yeah, I mean, Paramount did make In and Out with Kevin Kline, so I think they're good in our books. So
You see, if you threw that fact out, I'd hire you on the spot, that you knew that Paramount was the mother company for fucking Kevin Kline's In and Out. That is insane. And that burger place is named after that movie. Everyone knows that.
Exactly.
We all agree. We all agree.
The casting of Joan Cusack, brilliant. Yes, hire me.
So Davyd, tell everyone. God, you're a millennial. I don't even know how much you people love this, or the Stern Show. You're from Cleveland. Tell everyone your Howard history and how it started and everything.
This is actually perfect, because how I discovered Richard Simmons kind of ties into this, because that was sort of the first Stern related thing I discovered as an adult. But I grew up, as not Davyd, but my real government name was born in 1989. Davyd is like 100 years older. But
hey, you just got a hoodie pass by saying government name. That is me and the blacks love saying our government. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You just got major street cred for that. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah. So grew up in the 90s in Cleveland, and my mother listened to Howard all the time. But when I was a kid, it was like a big bore. Like it was just grown-ups talking. So I wasn't in tune to how good that era of the show was. But when I was in college, starting in like 2007, my mom had Sirius in her car. So when I was home from California on visits and I borrowed the car, it was set to Howard 100. And so I caught a lot of the Artie years live.
Oh, wow.
I mean, when I was home, but then on Master Tape Theater, maybe they would play, stuff from the history of the show when they weren't like red listing everything, and they would actually still play the good stuff. But hearing like early Richard Simmons coming on Howard appearances were one of the first things I heard.
You know how homoerotic that last sentence just sounded?
Right. Exactly. Mark Harris and right.
Coming on Howard.
Right. Exactly. I didn't catch that.
Thank you, A. Smith, sir. Thank you, A. Smith.
Yes,
I love you, sir. Go ahead, Davyd. I'm sorry.
So then, it was the early days of Todd Packer and I'm forgetting the other uploaders of the
Dick Justice.
Dick Justice, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I discovered all of the Richard Simmons appearances that I could find and thought they were hilarious. But then, you start to realize that you piece together the timeline of the legacy of this show, and just it's like a big soap opera,
Yeah.
And I probably crammed 25 years of listening to clips of the show, not complete shows, but the highlights, in about 7 years, and John, I mean, you have an amazing memory. I also have that blessing and curse. I remember everything, even small throwaway moment things from the show that other people wouldn't care about, but it's like, that's crucial.
Yeah.
That
you and I bonded over Mark Harris.
Right,
as a matter of fact. One of the things, I mean, what a great picture. He sent me a picture of his high school graduation in 2000 in 5th grade. He went from 5th to 12th grade, and he had a Cleveland Indians shirt on. It was the year 2000. You were listening to Howard then in 5th grade? That's just before Artie. That's a year and a half before Artie joined that.
Well, I mean, I was forced to listen to it because my mother was listening to it.
Right.
So I was cognizant of like even the K-Rock Artie years where Beth was being introduced. I remember Beth's name being spoken on the radio and sort of, I wasn't super tuned in even as like a high school kid, because it was just like a boring talk show that my mom listened to, as far as I was concerned. I kind of understood the show later on my own. It's
not meant for elementary school ears or middle school, I don't think.
Yeah.
Barely high school for me. I don't think, it's not. You're not going to get the jokes. You're not, if it's staying like blue and sexual, you're not going to get it at that age unless you're just like some deviant little shitbag that got trained by your parents at sex way too young. But I didn't either.
Well, and also the humor behind Billy West doing a Jay Leno impression and making all these obscure show business jokes wasn't going to make me laugh until college anyway.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Welcome, Kylo Sierra Alpha. Let me say hi to some people, Davyd. Melvin, welcome, sir, everyone. Christian Turner, you've done it again. CT, welcome to the Lotus Notes family. So how did you find Radio Gunk and us, Davyd, initially?
Through one of your many defunct channels, because
Okay.
I was just finding, I forget, it might have been Bon Duckwald, actually.
That was one of my channels. Look at you.
Yeah.
That's such a great tie-in. Oh my God.
Yeah. So, and then sort of I don't know if you were linking to Radio Gunk episodes or whatever it was.
Once in a while I would. Yeah, once in a while.
So it was probably around like 2018 or 19 that, because a lot of the great, all those channels are taken down eventually. You know, they only last for a little bit of time before, you know, whoever in Howard's office is taking them down. And then I discovered Radio Gunk probably just before Benjamin left, and you know, I started chatting in the chat well after.
And then you groomed me via Michael Mann, via a hatred of Michael Mann at
in the Viper
a
Room
premiere, for Public Enemies.
Right.
Which is how you initially got on. I don't know why you don't like that movie, Bond. It's not the time and the place, I know.
I don't like that movie either. I don't.
They need to do a rematch. They need to do a director's cut of it and add like a half hour to it.
They shouldn't have shot it on digital. Most of it's digital. And it
I
looks
agree with that. Actually,
garbage. There's some parts that are on film, and that killed me. But that's another show, isn't it?
I actually agree with that. I don't want to get all nerdy.
It looks like a home movie. It goes into I'm seeing Johnny Depp, and it looks like John. It's like you filmed him with your phone or something. You're running up to him, trying to talk to him. Yeah.
My day has come where I get to finally say to you, this is not the show to talk about Johnny
Depp. We get off. You can tell Davyd when Davyd goes into full like dastardly queen mode in West Hollywood, going, that fucking goddamn. I'm sitting there riffing with him for 3 hours, just telling me not to bring Howard up in the middle of it. I knew it. Jason, that is so brilliant. I was going to say this, but you got the first one out. We read about Don Buchwald's death in Dan's papers. That's so good.
Oh, that's a good one.
Good one, Jason.
I
actually was going to say that.
I bet we could use some of the Cash App money to advertise Lotus Notes in Dan's papers. That would be hilarious.
That would be outstanding.
Cost?
It can't be much.
Yeah, I mean, it's a local. I mean, even if it is the Hamptons, I can't imagine they're charging an arm and a leg.
And the chat's going crazy on that Dan's Papers reference, as deservedly so, Jason.
It's so
that is
great.
Jason Kaplan, everyone. What do you guys want to start with? Do you want to start with Buchwald, or do you want to start with Richard Simmons and get Richard Simmons out of the way and then stay full steam ahead on Buchwald and then try to go, and then we'll go into the serious stuff, because Buchwald, what we're doing with the serious marbles and stuff, his stamp. Bond, what would you say? He's like the number 1 or 2 culprit in the whole. We've been talking about him since we started this.
Yeah, he taught Howard how to grift, and that's it.
Yeah. Yes.
Him and Mel Karmazin.
Howard doesn't have to take the. He doesn't have to do the. It's Buchwald say Howard just reaps the benefits of the grifting. He just comes on and does it, then acts like he's doing you a favor by being a huckster and a salesman, and then Buchwald does the hard negotiate. Welcome, Sunflower Dragon. So you want to start with Dick Simmons, and then
let's do that, because I honestly, if I can set this up, like it's hard to do a Richard Simmons compilation just because what you hear is what you get. Like with Lotus Notes, like a Mark Harris show is going to be much more interesting because you can never pin Mark down, and there's so many names and places he drops that are worth kind of researching into.
I can't. You remember when Howard, he said exactly that to Howard one time. He goes, Howard said to Mark, he goes, I can't figure you out. And then Mark, just like that, he goes, oh, no, nobody can. So he slips in, I'm so complicated that you can't figure me out. I'm so right.
part of his
Damn.
affectation. Richard Simmons is more like, I mean, I included clips that I thought were kind of interesting, not necessarily the most classic, because they're all, every Richard appearance is based on the same premise. That
I trust your instincts. I trust your.
And again, we can kind of bounce around a little bit, but I opened it with, I bookend it with 2 non-Howard Richard Simmons clips that I think are kind of amusing. So we can, and feel free to jump around. We don't have to watch the whole thing, whatever you want to do.
There's a compliment for Bon Jovial. Hey, Mr. D, which means that's Conrad Bain to you. You also host a true crime channel. His host's voice is exactly like yours. I think I know what he's talking about. Yeah, the Aussie, the penal colony accent's a great voiceover. I agree, Dave. Do you know what he's talking about, Bon? Christian?
No, I haven't heard it, but I think my sister mentioned something about some podcast like that. But I don't know. I don't know if when I hear my voice back, I'm not impressed, as I've told John many times. So I don't know how anyone could enjoy it. But if they're enjoying him talking about murder and things like that, then more power to him.
Everybody hates their own voice, hates their own picture, hates their own dick pics. Christian Turner.
Speak for yourself.
Turner, speak for myself. Christian Turner. I love that. That name sounds like a super agent, doesn't it? Like that never got. I don't know, Christian Carino. That is a cool name. I don't know. I've never heard of a Christian Turner in all these years. They're common names, but you put them together, and I've never heard that.
It's just like a powerhouse. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a powerful name. Hooper. So we'll do Dick Simmons, and then last Two Master. Welcome to Master. Babs the Rush. I see you there. All about the tendrils.
Two Master, dude. I haven't seen this guy for years. Is that the original Two Master?
That's the original. Yeah, I mean, would you think there'd be a Two Master impersonator? That's
good call though. That's a zinger.
Two Master knows all. You know, and he just.
Oh, he had his own YouTube channel, man.
Yeah,
he was iconic. Good man. Anyway, yeah.
Speaking of good men, legalese wise, John O'Reilly, I want to thank you from the bottom of my mallet again for helping us out with the Baldwin trial. You're a rare lawyer that is humble and is always right. And he's always right. And we all agree. We all agree. The guy just modestly guided us through the Depp trial initially in 2022 and the Baldwin trial. And what would we do without him and the Sunflower Dragon and Frank the Tank? And then
look at that. Standing ovation for them. Great gang.
John agreed to represent me pro bono anytime I want. That's really nice of you. It really is.
You might need it. You never know.
He's going to be Davyd's lawyer at Paramount negotiations.
Absolutely. And now that I'm replacing Elfman, you know.
Oh, that's a show, Davyd. That's the next Deppening. We're going to go into the Danny Elfman stuff.
Yeah.
But before, just really quick, go right to Howard. Do you think the Danny Elfman trial is going to be televised? We were hoping. Davyd just asked. Is there any
doubt
chance
it. I think he's. I mean, people know who he is, but I don't think it's. I think he's still a little too B-sides as a celebrity for it to be warranted to be televised. I could see it not being televised.
B-sides. Look at you with the old vinyl reference. B-sides. I'm gonna hit the shuggy button on you.
He's an old soul.
He really is. I got to get my Steve Rogers drops ready for him too.
Yeah, your barbershop.
I'm 95. Drops. I'm not dead. I'm 95, and the barbershop quartet. So what we're talking about is Tim Burton's. Danny Elfman is Tim Burton's. He's probably. Would you say he's the most famous composer in all of movies?
Yeah, I mean he's one of them for sure. I mean, and he's John Williams, Hans Zimmer, Danny Elfman. I think Elfman has that crossover thing just because he was the singing voice of Jack Skellington. So people, all the goth Marilyn Manson kids froth over him. And I think the Oingo Boingo connection also, he was kind of famous because of Oingo Boingo. And I think he just kind of parlayed that into his connection with Tim Burton.
And what I should say is, so fittingly, and Davyd did a great line via text, as he often does. Camille Vasquez, Depp's her and Ben Chu were Depp's representatives in the Amber Heard trial, is representing Danny Elfman. What did you say, Davyd?
Oh, I gotta look at it. The Tim Burton
yeah, it's
universe.
The Burton verse. Yeah, I'm trying. He's gonna they're gonna represent the whole Burton verse. I forget how you worded it, but it was great.
I'll look it up.
Well, that brings up a question: Is Elfman going to be off Burton's radar for future composing for movies because of these things, these legal issues?
I had
only if you were black.
He would have barely gotten in by the skin of his teeth there,
yes.
But yeah.
Teeth.
No, I think that I had some friends who played in the orchestra for Beetlejuice 2, and they said that Elfman was asked to not come to the recording session. So
no,
he's kind of a pariah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So Camille Vasquez, everybody really got famous off the, they almost did like an OJ lawyer fame from the Depp trial, and she's going to represent Elfman, and I'm hoping that gets televised. That would be just amazing.
Me too.
I cannot believe Depp wants to. It sounds bad, and he's got multiple accusers, and Davyd had a wild mother, says Barbara DeRuss. Yeah, I don't know. Is she wild, or she's just kind of cool?
No, she was a cool mom who had like a really hip sense of humor, and I think like because I think I have had to convince my mother to, like, she refuses to listen to Radio Gun because she's just so devoted. She's not like a super fan. She's not like a Marianne from Brooklyn, but I think it's like she doesn't want to hear him. She doesn't want to hear that like someone she's been listening to for 35 years is like, not who she thought he would. Like she's not that deep of a fan that it's like, I like what I like about the show, and she probably doesn't listen as much anyway. I think she got really she was really upset by how Howard treated his dad when he was dying. He was just so cruel to him, and I think that kind of turned her off a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, so Two Master, your Whoosh Dish Schmeen, you know who that is? He's a major archival supplier. Really, I think if that is him and that is you, and you are one and the same, I think everybody here owes you a debt of gratitude. I know I've used your shit all the time. If that is you, I mean, a huge, iconic debt to the Stern community. We really wouldn't have shit without you. I mean, there's been a few, like obviously Todd Packer is amazing. He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. But this guy, I think, did you have a podcast a long time ago, Whoosh? And it just it was good. And I don't know why you didn't continue it. If that is you, welcome Ida Greenbacks.
Yeah, Ida,
my dear. Go ahead, Davyd. I'm sorry.
Was Two Master the Artie a file? Like
yes,
knew everything
he loved
about
Artie. Yes,
yeah,
definitely.
Okay, that's right.
Oh, we disagree, Tendrils. We'll turn you into Mark. We can't agree on it. We can't love everything in unison, but we will turn you into a Mark Harris fan when we explain.
Absolutely.
Imagine the buttermilk and Davyd. And, I love the needs of Davyd. I'm gonna play everybody my messages I left for Davyd next time as Mark Harris. There's Holden 190. Welcome, Holden. Oh, they're my diaper. That's all. Chief Phony Feathers, welcome. There's Brendan, Fuji Vice. Not for the first time. Arm has been groomed. Oh my God. Did I just get emasculated? Did I just get one of my best friends just emasculate me?
You love that. Yeah, you love being emasculated.
I do.
You love being groomed about being groomed, right?
Here's what I think. I think if you acknowledge being emasculated, you're not being emasculated. I think if you catch it, you're actually not being emasculated.
Yeah.
I believe that. I really do.
It's the same thing with like, I always, if I get a sense that like a straight guy is going to be playfully homophobic with me, I'll just make a darker gay joke at my own expense. So it like levels the playing field right there.
Oh, you're the best at it. No one's better than you. When I say you people and stuff, you just go right with it.
Yeah.
Because you know what I mean? Because you know how much the gay community loves me in West Hollywood. They're going to have a Vanderpump, float for me. I guarantee it by next year. Thank you, Postradamus. That is a great channel. I should be bringing, I don't know if I should post Howard stuff on the Deppening or create a new channel for it. I don't know what to do. What do you think, Bon?
I know. I see what you mean.
Like
new channel. Oh no, I think you'd be better off separating because it might make you look a bit lowbrow. You know.
Yeah,
You
different.
know
There's
what I
some
mean?
different. Yeah, I know what you mean. There's a good crossover though. Tendril says, that's a good line. Don Buchwald is Howard's Roy Cohen. That's pretty funny. I was going to say his Tracy Jacobs
Yeah.
more so. Tracy, let's to tie Tracy Jacobs into Don Buchwald. Tracy Jacobs was not Johnny Depp's super agent, and they had a falling out in 2016 where she did not want him playing with it makes two of us not playing with the Hollywood vampires. He said, "Don't fuck with my music career," and he dumped her. And her relationship, he got Scissorhands because of her. He became a legitimate, certifiable, taken seriously movie star because she knew Tim Burton from art school. Not a lot of people know this. They went to art school together, and she got him a meeting with Tim Burton when only he wanted Tom Cruise, Tom Hanks, Michael Jackson, and Gary Oldman to play Scissorhands.
Oh,
And then
what?
Cruise dropped out. Yeah, and then Depp got Scissorhands because of it. And she has shepherded his career all the way to 2016. It ended on such a bad note. He owed her $11 million when they broke off, and still does to this day.
God.
So he was the Buchwald. Tracy Jacobs was Depp's Buchwald. She would champion him and get him shit that you wouldn't think he would get, and he would bring her up all the time. Ida wants to know if Howard will be going. Yeah, he'll actually go to this one, Ida. He can't not go to this.
Yeah, that would be
the worst one. Yeah, he would get eviscerated.
Every article that is written about him passing away says Howard Stern's agent. Like it's the only celebrity that they sort of associate with Don Buchwald at this point.
I'm going to ask you to read his other clients. And it changes sometimes if you have it up. Do you have it up? Or
I found, so the Buchwald and Associates website doesn't have it, but I found it on IMDb, just their client list. So yeah, I do have a list in front of me, but I don't know if it's the one. There didn't seem to be one on their website.
Oh, the client list?
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. I have a general. There's been a couple articles. It's like Jason Priestley and Ralph Macchio.
Like I'm seeing Thora
Virginia
Birch.
Madsen. Who Thora Birch is?
Yeah, I'm seeing Thora Birch.
She's good. I like her. She's a good.
She's great.
Little
She's
actress.
Great. Yeah. So I'm seeing a lot of names I don't know. It looks like Kirstie Alley was with them at some point. Mary Lynn Rice-Cub, Blythe Danner. Yeah.
That's not bad. Blythe Danner is Gwyneth Paltrow's mom.
Yep.
How much you want to bet that's how she got booked on the show?
Huh. Oh, that's interesting.
You gotta always. You're a showbiz insider, Davyd. You know how this works. You gotta always connect the dots with the agents. That's how the business. That's why you see like Pete Davidson dating Kate Beckinsale. Like what?
Right.
What is going on here? So it's because Lorne Michaels' agent's trying to create a star, and they're hooking him up with other agents' thing, and they don't even. It lasts for 2 weeks. He gets publicity. That's how it works. Don't ever take this shit seriously.
Right. They get Scarlett Johansson on the show because Thora Birch and her were in Ghost World together or something.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes. Oh. Classics. Oh, John, I heard Ice then. Did anybody?
Oh, you heard the Ice? You heard the Ice?
I think
Chief Phony Feathers. This is funny. Dan's Papers advertises on placemats. What has more journalistic credibility? Stepping Out magazine or Dan's Papers?
Highlights magazine, where you can find a toaster in a tree, or Dan's Papers.
Oh my God! How do you know highlights?
I've been to dentist's office.
Okay.
I've seen them.
I used to steal all magazines from my dentist's office all the time. It would just be free for all. Even if I didn't want it, shit. I didn't even. I would steal Ebony and Essence. I just came back from the Essence Festival, by the way, in New Orleans. I'm gonna go back. They're gonna let me speak again.
Right, you're the keynote speaker.
I'm the keynote speaker again. But the Buchwald connection would be perfect for FBI string if we had it on. That's great, Phony Feathers.
That's hilarious.
We do like a Donnie Brasco chalkboard with Buchwald. That's so funny. Okay, so let me just play this. Sarah's gonna kill me. Go ahead, Bon.
Yeah, you've got to do this little. Sarah will kill you if you don't do this right now. You need to do this.
Johnny Meyer, again, my condolences to the great Harry Barbarian, Electric Eel. He was an integral part to Howard's show with fake callers. We're going to play Johnny Meyer's fake phone call to the Stern Show as he hates the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Yeah.
That was his character. And
Perfect conceit.
it was like a full 10 minutes, and you get to hear what a fake phone. It really was like an A+ fake phone call. It wasn't meant to be funny. He was like this surly, just piece of shit who hates the Make-A-Wish Foundation. What sociopath would hate the Make-A-Wish Foundation? Like, let him die. So Johnny says, hey, Howard trying to get Luke Perry to let Don Buchwald represent him. That's a great reference. But he declines, saying he only wants him because he's already famous. But where was he when he wasn't? Got to respect that Luke was. That's a great point. It's easy to represent someone when they're already famous.
Yeah.
That's so true. Good point, Johnny. Mr. Jovial, you have a wonderful voice, says Sunflower Dragon. In fact, all three of you have very distinct, great voices. Thank you, Sunflower Broad.
All right, you got to read this. Sarah's going to kill you.
Okay.
Dearest viewers, do you want me to read it? Oh, no, you read it. This is your thing. Yeah, sorry. It's your thing.
Vinny, it's Mark. Dearest viewers, a new month and a new show. If able, please donate to the Arm Fund, which is how your host gets paid. Super Chat, Venmo, Cash App, or memberships. It all counts. We'll all go. Now put your face in the buttermilk and take a sip. Oh, I love the knee. Welcome to a new arm venture. How do you keep the music playing? How do you make it last? How do you keep the song from playing too fast? I love how he has this horrible Brooklyn accent, and then he says words like fast. He says fast.
Yeah, right. Like
doesn't
British.
Line up at all. But like I told you that he grew up less than a mile away from Chuck Schumer, who I constantly make the comparison to how he sounds like.
Right.
And they couldn't be more politically worlds apart, but they sound exactly alike and lived less than a mile in Brighton Beach, Brooklyn, as a matter of fact.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, Brendan, how about the Big Van Vader 3-episode arc on Boy Meets World eventually is covered on the Deppening? That's what a wise ass, Brendan. You son of a bitch.
Yes, we cover show business. I'm sorry. It's not all Dep.
You're welcome, John O'Reilly. All right, so this is Davyd, specially put together on Rest in Peace, Richard Simmons. And this is probably the last time we'll do stuff with Richard Simmons.
Yeah.
There's so much backup here. Richard Simmons, Lotus Notes, here it is. Davyd, I see a PM magazine wallpaper. I have no idea how you know what that is. It's way too old for you.
It's one of my it's a very interesting Richard Simmons, who famously never officially came out, or did he? And we will see in this clip.
Okay. Thank you, Davyd. Can't wait to see it. Here we go.
When I stopped taping my show, I was in 191 markets.
It'll come on screen.
The real thing that happened is my producer,
Gavel, honey.
Nora Fraser, and my executive producer, Woody Fraser, were a man and wife. And they were married like a month before my show was created. And the last year of my show, he used to anger.
I'm sorry, that's such a great line by John O'Reilly. He goes, I want him to represent me. And he goes, the only thing I specialize in is motor vehicle violations along William Floyd Parkway. I had to stop it. That's such a good line. I was going to laugh through the whole, that's so funny.
That's a great.
You know what a rebel I am, right?
I know, yeah. Sleeping it off in a Costco parking lot.
Divorce. Where he would drive in to the picture window of her home in his car, where she would set his office on fire.
No.
So weird.
And I was in the midst of all this. And then one day he said, you're a fucking Nora.
Whoa!
And he tied me up and put me in a closet.
No.
Oh, yeah. And I said,
this is evil, Richard Simmons. I've never heard him curse.
No,
there's evil Richard Simmons at the end too. Yeah.
This is out of character.
Yeah,
this is real.
Like,
this is great.
Like when they weren't quote filming, like it's just like
Okay, they let him
made
roll.
the
I
cutting
got
room
you.
floor. Right.
This is the real guy, and I'm enjoying. I've never seen him talk normally like this.
Right.
Continue. I'm loving this.
Thank you, Christian Turner. I will hook you up again whenever you need.
Guys, I'm not really having a real fun. I mean, I'd walk into tape shows and I would never know what was happening. It was a horrible, horrible experience. And
How did you get out of the closet?
Thank you, Frank the Tank.
Well, I've been out of the closet for a while, but how I got out of that closet was I was banging on the door.
I'll give it to you. Let me see it. No, I'm not letting. I'm sorry, Davyd. You were saying?
No. So I love that clip because he in effect comes out in 1987, and if they had just, I'm shocked they never ran with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the Richard Simmons they don't want you to see.
Yeah. So anyway, this is from Howard made that Crucified by the FCC tape in the early 90s to let all the uncensored bits out, and he and Gary are just kind of reminiscing. They're talking about Richard Simmons, but this is in like 1991, so it's kind of interesting.
Thank you, Sunflower Dragon. I have a theory that Richard Simmons might have been trans. He was born too early. He seemed so happy dressed as a woman when he did. That's a good theory, Sunflower.
Yeah.
I never even thought of that.
Go your finger. Give it.
Thoughts on Richard Simmons? Richard is a real good guy. He's generous. He comes into the room and I don't know. He just fuck, man. I don't know what he does.
Well, you know how, like, during the commercials when he wears those striped shorts, what he does is he'll say to the audience, "I'm not doing anything," and then he pulls out, like, he shows you his balls and stuff as a goof, and you go, "Richard, oh," and he goes, "What? I'm not doing anything."
You maniac.
Gary,
No, it's this one.
why did you tell that story about me showing my balls when you know that that's not true? That's a phone call we're gonna get.
I cannot believe you know Olivia Newton-John's physical. Have you ever done spin classes with Kevin Bacon to Olivia Newton-John's?
Well, to be fair, this is History of Howard Stern put this on.
Oh, okay. It's Howard's favorite song.
Yeah.
I think he
exactly.
played that at WNBC a few times.
probably
I'm worried about copyright, John. Just mentioning
Oh,
that
fair.
quickly.
I got this
care
off of
less
YouTube.
if it's monetized. I could care less.
They talk over it too, so.
I own.
That's all right.
I own. I forgot to say. I'm sorry, everyone. I got a disclaimer. I own all Olivia Newton-John's catalog. John Travolta's catalog. John Travolta's Airplane. His hair plugs. I own all things Grease, and I think we're covered.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Many of the Howard Stern Show's greatest guests arrived on the scene in the mid-'80s. Fitness guru Richard Simmons first appeared on Stern's show at WNBC in 1982. But it wasn't until 4 years later at K-Rock when Howard...
This voiceover guy is the guy who did all the VH1 behind the music.
Oh,
right?
is he? I
like this
voice. Definitely him. That's
some New
I don't know
York
his name.
George Flowers-esque dude, right?
Yeah.
But if you watched all the VH1 behind the music, that's the guy they had for all of it when it was big. VH1 was weird back then. In like the early 2000s, they would do that, and they would do like My Fair Brady and Breaking Bonaducci and
Breaking Bonaducci. Yeah. Oh, I watched that. Wow.
Someone commented how old my mom is. She's 61. She's Depp's age.
Depp's age.
So,
we always say that. How it would fly if your mom took Depp's. They switched lives for 1 week.
If you met my mother, is just the funniest. She's just like a cute Midwest lady. So for her to, act 20 years younger than her age, like Johnny Depp is doing, is hilarious.
So can I get your tacit agreement that you're going to do our fantasy football league this year?
Sure.
It'll be hilarious to see you and Bon Jovial.
To see me floundering,
Just to see, I would love for you to win. I would love for one of you two to win.
Sure.
My sister's going to be in it. My nephew's going to be in it.
How did the subject change from David's mum to fantasy football?
Because Cleveland rocks, as you know.
Exactly.
And he's a Browns fan, like Sarah is.
realized his true comic potential.
Speak about his children.
You want to hear Richard calling Gary's answering machine the other night? Okay, here it is. You ready?
You're not going to play this.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to play this.
What did you say,
Richard? Oh, that is a private thing, Howard. Don't you dare play that.
This is just Richard singing
Don't
like
you
Mark
play that,
Harris.
Howard.
Let's listen.
If you play that, Howard.
Let's listen. Let's listen.
Out there shopping for a little present for me. This is too much to take. Gary, please do me a favor. The Barbra Streisand retrospective album and cassettes and CDs are out. On the CD, on the 8th side, Well, no. On the cassettes, on the 8th side, the last one in the 80s, she does a duet with herself. And it's the last song, and she does a duet with herself when she was 14 years old, and now when she's 49. And it goes like, you'll never know just how much I love you. Would you please card that for me so we can have it Monday? It's a wonderful album or cassette or CD. And
how great would that be if Jackson and Lucas were of age to listen to that message and heard that instead of like Mary or Gary?
Right.
How great would that be?
Yeah, because I think Jackson's the eldest. He was born in '94, so this is before
He's
they
like
were
my
even
nephew's
born.
age. Yeah, yes,
Right.
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Tamara Francois, welcome.
Aw.
This, I mean, she might. We got to get the black percentages up, and Tamara Francois is jealous that I was the keynote speaker at the Essence Festival in New Orleans.
The BET
called
Award.
the BET Award, yes.
for the record. Isn't it pretty? Anyway, get that and card it for me. You'll never know. Please, Gary, please. I can't.
I will never, ever call her. Where is Gary?
I don't think that's embarrassing. I think it's goofy and funny. I don't think there's anything embarrassing about that. I've done way worse shit than that. Way
I mean,
worse.
Richard's playing it up too for the persona on the Stern Show.
My cousin reenacted a scene from Melrose Place on my answer machine, and he played both characters.
Oh, funny.
Remember when with fucking Greg Evigan and Doug Savant? And he goes, Doctor, what would happen if I told you that I was attracted to my therapist right here in therapy? And he goes, well, Matt, that's unprofessional. In that case, I'd have to terminate our doctor-patient relationship. He goes, well, in that case, doctor, you're fired. So my cousin left that on my answer machine once. That's hilarious. Way worse. That's great.
Nothing is sacred.
Oh my! Oh
Nothing
my!
is sacred.
Imagine you come home and that's on your machine. Oh my!
Richard was promoting a bunch of stuff, and the guys from Z100 told him, if you do Howard's show, you can't come here and do our show. And Richard's like, but what I'm promoting is for charity. I have to go to as many places as I can. They go,
is Gary telling us, is he seriously telling us that Z100 is ruthless doing that? Do you know how bad the Stern Show is when you flip that around? That you can't do that with Opie and Anthony. You can't do anything with them. Is he really acting like that's a liberal place, the Stern Show?
And also,
Did I hear that right?
even in the early '90s, they were yelling at Gilbert for doing someone else's show.
Yeah, and you could do like a TV show. They'd yell at you.
Right.
I can't believe the hypocrisy. It's never ending. Welcome, G Canada.
we don't care. So then Richard goes, fine, I'm going to do Howard. So probably like a year had gone by, and Z100 didn't have him. We probably had him on like 6 or 7 times. And I think they realized that they had lost a very valuable guest. So we're in a commercial break. And Richard starts to tell us a story. He goes, you're never going to believe what happened last night. And Howard goes, what? And he said, Scott Shannon's people called me. We're like, well, what did they say? And they said, Richard, I hope you don't harbor any hard feelings. You know, we'd really like to have you back. And we go, well, what'd you say? And he said, I said, tell Scott Shannon that I'd rather eat pussy than do that show. And I think you know how much I like doing that. And then there was this long pause because we like sort of didn't know how to respond. Then he just went, and it was like,
they call that similingus.
all right, what are we going to do with that story? That was funny. But even for something that happened off the air, that was a little bit more of the door opening, saying, I'm willing to play the game. You can ask about my life and that sort of thing.
Listen, if you answer the question and 5 seconds goes by and I don't say anything, it's time to move on to the next question.
Okay, no problem. So Gary told us this story about an interesting comment you made to Scott Shannon.
Who is that? Is that Will or Jason? I can't. Is it some intern?
I can't tell. I mean, it was done. It's an early. I mean, I assume this is part of History of Howard Stern, so I'm assuming it's a 2006-07 employee. I don't know how long it took them to put all that entire piece of History of Howard Stern.
It's right. That's when they were ambitious. They don't do anything of the sort anymore. That was when they hooked you in. This is what they did back then. They hooked you in with subscriptions. This is what we're going to do all the time. It's never going to stop. And then they stopped it as soon as Howard made his bonuses. And especially stopped when he lost the lawsuit in 2012.
Yeah.
Is there any truth to that?
So there's so many instances of Richard like outing himself. I mean, it's just like it's so bizarre. Anyway,
So you put there Howard's kids.
So yeah, sorry.
Right here and freeze it. Richard Simmons turns Howard's kids against him. This is great. I've lived for these. I live for anything his kids.
Oh, you'll.
By the way, I got this for Bon. I got this. Let me just because I almost forgot. I got this for Bon. Just because he's gonna do. We're gonna eventually have an Emily Stern segment officially every time, and Bon's gonna helm that. So I got these just to wet the palate a little bit.
There's an Emily Stern segment on this Richard Simmons.
Spiritual, sexual.
I love that.
Spiritual love like hell. The name of God. My breasts, my white shining legs, my vagina, my ass are all godly. Breast in Hebrew, God in Hebrew is Shaddai. Shaddai in Hebrew also means my breasts. God. My tits inside God. My tits are godly. My tits are God.
Yes, everyone.
My tits inside God. My tits are godly. My tits are God. My tits inside.
Yes, everyone. That is Howard's daughter, Emily Stern, at age. Let's ballpark it at 22. Something like that. 22, 23. So let's just get your palate wet with that. I'm sorry. Here we go.
Come
on,
on,
dissolved into the intimacy of being God's favorite.
Did I have a video upload? Oh, did I not add it in? Maybe I did. Emily. Oh, I didn't. I had a video too for. That's okay. We'll get back to this.
Richard Simmons is out front, so maybe we'll take a break.
He's not rushing in?
Nah, you know what? He even said to me, maybe I shouldn't come in this morning because you guys are going to want to talk about Sam. And I said, nah, come on in. I mean, I really wanted to tell him, don't come in because, you know, we were talking about Sam. But then I said, no, it'll be a nice break from talking about that. And
well, he can come in and tell us Sam stories, too.
Well, Richard actually does have Sam stories. Yeah. Richard, come on in, Richard. I'm surprised he didn't break in. I think he did break in because we were talking.
I got so tired of Howard trying to crowbar a cool factor on himself with Kinnison after a while. I think Kinnison's a unique comedian. He's, you know, pretty legendary, but Jesus Christ, they beat him to death through the years. I got so tired of them referencing him.
And this is the Monday after he died. So that's why they're saying like Richard, you know, they spent the whole morning talking about Sam dying and everything. And so Richard's coming in. And there were some Richard Simmons, Sam Kinison interactions on the show. I didn't include any of them, but just interesting date in history for this clip.
Thank you, Rick the electrician, sir. Good to see you in here. Good luck. Rick, you're Canadian, right? Are you? We have so many. If you're not, you should be. Good luck on the new pod. Thank you, Rick the electrician. And that's a compliment, by the way. It's a huge Canuck demographic in our chat. It's crazy. It's almost half. Sometimes it's half. That's nothing wrong with that. It's North American, right? Where
people around the Great Lakes love this show, you know. Just
appreciate
whether it's Cleveland
you, Rick.
or, yeah.
Here we go.
Funeral stuff and
yeah,
you know, people
he's now
dying.
Waiting to be announced.
Yeah.
Standing on ceremony all of a sudden.
And since I'm like the widow, I mean, everyone's calling me, telling me, oh, sorry. So I say, hey, I'm not the widow. Call Malika. Don't call me. Hi, Richard.
Hi. Oh, I don't know. I just haven't been able to stop eating since this whole thing. I'm so depressed. No, I am.
I had Richard over my house for dinner last night. Boy, was that...
Hold it before you say a word. Here.
Yeah. When you were 15, did you dress up like Barbara Streisand a lot?
No.
Did you ever pretend to be her?
Not gonna is that projection? Is that projection, Davyd?
Totally.
Yeah.
I jumped around
right
a little
immediately.
bit.
Goes right into it. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Cool.
About this guy. This guy's a wise guy. He comes over my house for dinner. My parents.
I'm a wise guy.
And he's sitting there. He's sitting there, Robin.
I had such a good time.
He's sitting there.
I'm trying to hear you, Howard.
The whole, what was that? My hearing just went. Anyway, we're sitting there at the table, and this guy, every couple of seconds, you know, we're talking. My father, like Rich, will say, "Are you a very conservative man?" And my father go, "Well, yes, I'm very." And all of a sudden, Rich will go, "Conservative." You break into Broadway show too, and you don't know.
See, Howard's funny back here, guys. When you think like getting the guy now in 2024, this mook who can't deliver a punchline, who's afraid to commit. He was funny back then.
He's motivated now.
Yeah, he's motivated. A lot of random singing like that. I used to really laugh at Howard's his operatic voice and shit. Melvin, that's funny. I can't believe you remember that. Hey, faggot, why don't you come to Detroit? We'll make a man out. He goes, and Mark goes, oh, really? Well, why don't you buy me a car and forget it?
His improv skills reminded him that they make cars in Detroit, so that's a perfect comedic line, right?
Detroit cars, I can
do something with that.
Nobody, you know what it is? It's like you ever go to dinner and a couple is making out, like a couple that just met and you've been married for 17 years, and the couple's making out because they're so enthralled in their love, and you don't know where to avert your eyes because they're making out right in front of you.
And everyone, I want you to know, listen to the cadence and speed in Howard's voice.
So quick.
Versus today's. He takes 15 minutes to pronounce what would give me a what was that shit, that damn thing? He was, oh god, that it'll come back to me. It was like a 11 syllable.
Where do you look?
When Richard starts singing, you don't know where to look. You don't know what to do. You don't know what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to start singing. My kids are even in panic. They're in shock.
Your kids had a wonderful time.
So what does Richard do? The whole night he's over my house. He's screaming the whole time. I mean, literally the whole time. Howard always makes fun of me. He's so mean. He's so mean.
Howard, your children.
My children do love you, but you turned them against me.
Well,
was that your intention?
No.
You're a vicious.
Howard's angry here. He's legitimately angry at him. When you go stuff with his kids and you kind of open that fourth wall up, I can tell when Howard's angry. He's pissed off here. That's a good get by you.
Yeah.
Davyd.
Vicious man.
Howard, you know that I did everything in my power last night to just show your daughters love and kindness as a relative, and you even said, and then you
call my parents mom and dad.
I wouldn't give a shit. That'd be fine. Call my parents mom and dad. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Is that how selfish you are, Howard? No one's even allowed to call him that as a nickname?
You're just trying to be cute and personable. Who cares?
Who cares?
Stop it! Stop it!
What are you doing?
He's a nut.
No, Howard. You promised me.
I'm not making fun of you. I'm talking about our day together.
I thought, I left your house feeling I had a great time.
We had a great time. We had a great time.
Well, why don't you just say we had a great time?
Except for how you handle my kids. You shouldn't have said I'm a mean man every minute. Sometimes in front of kids, you don't talk. You notice I didn't tell you the details of Sam Kinnison's death until the kids left the room.
I said it maybe 11 times.
No, I would say the whole
12.
night.
Okay, 12 times.
My daughter really thinks I'm a mean guy.
Well, you are mean,
I'm not
Howard.
mean.
Howard.
I'm daddy, damn it. I'm a nice daddy.
Well, it's daddy dearest. That's what it is.
G Canada's obsessed with trying to out bad boy me all the time. So when I bring up something that's relatively crooked, he has to. This is so funny. I knew he would do this. Oh, Arm, you're such a bad boy, stealing magazines from a dentist's office. Combine that with one beer at the movies and some speeding tickets. What an epic rebel! What a total badass.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. Okay, Emily Cern
sings for Richard in 1989.
Sings for Richard in 1989.
Yeah.
Yay! Yay, Emily! Yay!
Let those stupid dogs of yours match that. Richard.
Thank you for that.
Honey, sing a real song. Robin doesn't realize you're reading. Robin doesn't realize you're reading those lyrics for the first time. You've learned how to read. Sing a regular one of your regular songs. Sing the Debbie Gibson song.
Okay. Okay.
Go ahead.
Which one is that? I know them all.
I read that.
Which one?
The one that I just read.
Yeah, do that one.
Again?
Yeah, no. Debbie Gibson song. The one that, I forget how it goes. The one we were singing in the car the other day.
Okay.
All right.
Close your eyes, give me your hand, darling. Do you feel my heart beating? Do you understand? Do you feel the same? Am I only...
That's the Bangles.
It's the Bangles. Yeah, I don't know why. I think he just mislabeled it, or maybe Emily misunderstood what song he was talking about, but Richard takes the bait and goes along with it. Like, that's my favorite Debbie Gibson song. And it's like, no, it's the Bangles. Right. Yeah.
That's Susanna Hoffs. You talk about not aging. Holy shit, she looks good. She's 63, I think. God damn it. She just gave us a copyright for Emily.
For Emily C.
She's one of the most underrated female front broads, I think, in the
Yeah.
history of rock and roll. They're
Totally.
good. The Bengals are real. I love Haiti Shade,
That's-
the cover they did.
That
Hazy
great.
Shade of
It's a
Winter.
great song too. Yeah.
It is a great song. It's the what's Less Than Zero soundtrack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
Dreaming.
Oh, that's my favorite Debbie Gibson song.
Thank you.
See?
Am I only dreaming?
Dreaming.
Very good, Emily.
She learned that at school.
Oh,
Richard
okay.
brings the date to Gary's wedding.
Can you pause there for a second?
Did you watch the last? We did Gary's wedding. We showed footage of Gary's wedding.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
And it was a blonde broad.
it was yeah. So this one we can kind of. This is the longest one.
You want to just a couple, and we'll just skip through. Tell me where to go.
Yeah. Listen to the beginning because Gary's on the phone. It's like the day before his wedding, and he's just kind of going through his routine of what he's doing and how much money they're going to give Gary as a gift and everything.
Okay.
There's some money talk.
That's
I
good.
thought it was okay.
The money talk. I'm always into the money talk from
Yeah.
Howard's Greenbacks.
This is 92.
Yeah, back then they talked about money.
Hello.
I see Richard Simmons. He's kissing you. On our phone is Gary Delabate,
What are you doing, Richard?
the guy who's getting married tomorrow.
Oh, Richard.
By the way, on our phone is Gary Delabate, who is getting married tomorrow. Is that right, Gary? Are you there?
Howard actually went to the wedding in the clip.
Yeah.
He was too cool for school. He was trying to be a cool guy with the stupid dance and shit.
Right.
and Sitting in the middle. Dominic's hovering around him the whole time. You can imagine.
Right.
Larry Mondello's shoes. Welcome, sir. That's a great name.
Great name.
Why is this not working? Hello? Hello?
I'm here.
What do you want?
Actually, I called to talk to you off the air.
Why?
Well, I wanted to talk to you about a message you left on my machine yesterday, but I could talk to you about my wedding.
Hi, Gary.
Hi, Richard.
How are you?
Good.
Tomorrow.
Headphones.
Tomorrow is
Wanna hear
the
something funny?
wedding day.
Want to hear something funny?
Tomorrow is
Shut up.
the wedding.
David, is it a stereotype, or are you people really obsessed with weddings to that degree?
I mean, for the amount of celebrity weddings that I've played, it's no accident that I ended up in that profession. You know,
How jealous is Richard Simmons of you playing Josh Brolin's wedding with Streisand?
and Streisand, I never thought of that. That's so true. Oh my
Oh
god.
my god! And a profile, and she's got an umbrella over her and shit,
Yeah.
and she's no eye
Some hat.
contact.
Totally.
Come on. Please, sit down. I want to ask Gary. Gary, why are you not here today?
I have some very important things to do in preparation for a very big day in my
Why
life.
don't you share with us what it is let's hear what you have to do.
Yeah,
Okay.
What you're going to do today.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's hear what you have to do.
Right now, I'm at my friend's house, and I have all my checkbook is spread out on the table, and I'm writing out all the checks.
Did you
Then
get
I-
my present,
You
Gary?
couldn't do that
Yes,
yesterday?
I did, Richard. I tried to call and thank you, but I guess you never got the message. Richard gave me a very generous gift and very nice gift.
I don't believe for a second Gary called him back. I think he's lying to him. I don't
Yeah.
think for a second Gary called him back. He didn't get my
Attempted to,
message.
right,
That's such a Gary move. No way he called him.
Thank
Why
you very
couldn't your
much, Richard.
fiance do this?
Why couldn't he do this yesterday? He had all yesterday to do, write checks.
And then I have to go and get a manicure.
Oh, it's beauty day for Gary. Gary, let's have a beauty day together. I'll take you to Elizabeth Arden.
Ooh.
We'll have an herbal wrap.
I got to tell everyone, I don't know if you're experienced what I am. I haven't laughed at the Stern Show like this since Artie left, pretty much.
Same. Yeah.
I'm genuinely cackling over here.
Yeah.
At this energy.
They're great clips. Yeah, I know for our show we're all about doing autopsies on things, and as I said, the Richard Simmons appearances are just pure joy. There's nothing to really harness from it. So I found what I thought were the most interesting clips for our, as Jackie would say, for our purposes.
Yes. So Sarah gifted 5 memberships down there in the Deppenings. Thank you, Sarah.
Oh,
We miss
thanks,
you.
Sarah.
Everybody loves you. Everybody misses you, and so does she.
I say this to my Republican colleagues who are defending the indefensible. There will come a day when Donald Trump is gone, but your dishonor will remain.
Dr. Katz.
What a raise.
A mud pack.
What was that, Bon?
Dr. Katz's office.
If anyone's a comedy nerd, that's Laura Silverman, Sarah's sister from Dr. Katz, the animated comedy show, which was great. That was a fun show.
That was a good
I am
show.
like
Herbal
your
wrap.
hell.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, I stepped on it, Bon.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I just think Sarah. I think Laura is Sarah from Dr.
Yeah,
Katz.
that's a good one. That's
just
tremendous comparison.
I am in my own private hell.
President Trump summoned the mob, assembled the mob, and lit the flame of this attack.
Oh, that's so great.
Robin's into that.
See your shorts.
Richard, are you really?
Are you bringing a date to Gary's?
Yeah, she's in the other room.
Oh, yeah, we can meet her?
What? Yeah, she's in the other room. Can I bring?
What's
you
her
got
name?
the message. You know her.
Who?
Forget it.
Where is she?
Forget. She's in the office.
I never broke a confidence with you, by the way.
You're a liar.
Say what I said.
You're a
Just
liar.
give me a hint.
You know what's happening? The articles in USA Today, Penthouse, all the articles, all the fame, now the movie, all of this, and all of a sudden you forgot what friends are. And as Dionne Warwick would say, that's what friends
You're
are.
insane.
Wait a second.
Oh, it is great when he
This
breaks
is great
into
stuff.
song. It's just beautiful.
Oh, I love it.
This is Mark Harris level, like, funny.
Oh yeah,
This is
no,
really good stuff.
they're really, really funny. I mean, they're both equally. Richard appearances and Mark appearances are equally funny, but just for different reasons. But it's like a Venn diagram. They do share this middle portion of just being super campy and ridiculous. Yeah.
No one you can always count on me. Off the show. But Barbara DeRush wants to know if we can get your mom on the show.
No, maybe. We'll work on it.
Babs on Babs action here with Streisand and DeRush. I don't know who's the bigger diva.
Yeah.
Howard,
And you know it's true.
This is what he says to Joan Rivers. He's insane.
I don't talk to Joan Rivers.
What is that, Gary?
You're not
I
her
have to
friend
know.
anymore?
What?
Richard,
Yes, Gary.
are you really doing homeless aerobics?
No, I'm saying this is what he looks like.
Oh,
You should
oh,
see him
okay.
today.
All right, Gary, listen, I don't know why you called. Goodbye.
Wait.
Wait a second. I got to just
I can
play
bring
this
my
for you.
date. I can bring my date. Can I?
One
Gary?
second.
Well, I have to know because Richard didn't RSVP with a date, and I have to call with the final number. So if he's
Yeah.
bringing a date, I need to know for
She's
sure.
here. She's in the office.
What's her name, Neil? What?
How about Frank the Tank stating the obvious? Hey, Davyd, can we get a reading on David's Gator on Richard Simmons?
Yeah.
It's such
I don't know. I don't pick up anything as I don't pick up anything on Liberace or
Joe Antonio, welcome, sir. That's a new one. Joey A. Tendrils remembers my nephew's name. My nickname is Chucky, by the way.
Oh. Okay.
After hey, remember that animated series, Hey Arnold?
Chucky was on Rugrats.
No, that's Rugrats. I'm sorry. I
Yeah,
used to watch
Redhead.
Baby's
Yeah.
Rugrats. That's where I got it from. He had the same crazy hair, but it was blonde.
Oh,
Hey, come on, man. I'm kidding around. I'm asking you, is her name Neil? Sit down. I want to play something funny.
I want to know
Yeah.
why it's always got to be these little remarks. Why?
Come on, it's
Why?
only because
I
you
wanna
talk
know
like a
why.
woman. I know you like girls. What? You're getting married? A week from today? What? You're getting married at Gary's wedding?
Don't tell him.
Oh.
You're getting married at Gary's wedding.
Well,
It's a double wedding.
he's spending like what are you spending like $30,000?
Yeah.
So I asked.
What are you going to give him for a gift? How much?
He already gave me a gift. He gave me a wonderful gift.
Yeah, but I think he's going to give you money.
No, that's a great gift.
He told me what he
What
wanted.
did he give you? A cartoon?
He gave me a Marvin the Martian cartoon cell that is
What'd that cost
absolutely
you?
phenomenal.
What'd that cost you? Grand?
All you care about is money.
How much does that cost,
Fame,
Gary?
money, Howard Stern.
That's up to Richard to
Fame,
say.
money, Howard Stern.
Gary, how much
Movie
does something like that
fame.
cost?
I'm sorry, Mark. Richard's got his number. Dick Simmons
Yeah.
has his number already. This is 92. He's all over it. He's way
And
ahead
there's
of
several more instances of him calling Howard out for stinginess with money in this clip. Yeah.
Good
So
clips, David. Tremendous
Thank you.
stuff.
That's up to Richard to
Ratings,
say.
Howard Stern. That's it.
You know what Jackie says he's going to give Gary? $300.
That's good.
That's just an incredibly generous gift.
The way you pay
For
these
Jackie,
people.
you're right.
Stuttering John is giving you $200. He has no money.
So I thought. Are you,
Fred's giving you $500.
are you spending like
Oh, did you guys have this
30,000?
conversation?
Yeah, Robin's going to give you $1,000.
Hey.
Fred's got to talk to his accountant first before he gives it.
get a check sent out. Right.
God, it was the weirdest thing with that Will Murray wedding gift. That was
So bizarre.
That's where he's a Martian. It's shit like that.
Totally.
Hey,
I'm
wait.
glad I wasn't there for the
I was going to give you
about it.
$1,500, but now I'm being shamed into more money.
I think you should give him more because you don't pay him enough.
You want to know something? We had this.
This is like Howard at Gary's father's funeral, where he was trying to read the room, who's going and who's not. And so he
Yes.
felt like not enough important people going, so he ditched it. and then it's just like this. He's gauging so he can upstage who's ever not, you know, the money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
He's probably making. The first book came out right around here too. I think Howard's probably making $8 million a year at this point.
I believe that. Yeah. God damn.
You don't pay most of your people enough.
We had this discussion.
Really, you don't pay any of you don't pay Jackie enough. You don't pay Fred enough. You don't pay Stuttering John enough.
How does he know what we meant?
He has no idea.
Oh, I don't know what I did.
Wait a
Was I
minute.
going to write down their salary?
He pays Fred plenty.
Huh?
Too much.
I'm only kidding.
Listen.
So I thought.
You're not kidding. He's a Buchwald client. Fred's
Yeah.
the most overpaid guy on the show, including
Exactly.
That I would get married at Gary's wedding and it wouldn't cost me.
I was going to give Gary like $1,500 or something. You know, everyone was saying that. So, but then I said to myself, Gary really doesn't do that much around here. And we're building up Gary into too much. I mean, he's a guy we work with. Excuse
Gary
me.
is the producer of the show.
Yeah, but that's only because I gave him the title producer.
Whatever you
Gary,
give me is
the
fine,
show
Howard,
would not
but
be as good.
Don't base it on what I do. This isn't a business transaction. You're invited as my friend.
Oh, a friend I never see. Okay,
oh,
gotcha.
Come on.
A friend you don't socialize with.
So
Yeah.
Gary,
Some friend.
Gary, is it okay if we have a double wedding tomorrow?
All right,
Sure,
Richard,
would you have
stop it
mine?
already. All right, stop with that stupid
Lynn's
comment.
here.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Double wedding, like go half on it. You get the
Absolutely.
same friends and shit. That's not a bad idea.
Richard doing
That's
it as a
stupid
bit.
now.
and
It's
you
not
get-
stupid.
What, Davyd?
Oh, I'm sorry. Richard doing it as a bit, but it still gets financially covered. It's like, who cares?
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Do you people have double weddings, Davyd? Have you? How many gay weddings have you been to?
A couple, but they're called orgies, by the way, when they're
Okay. See, leans right into it. My breasts, my vagina.
Being like a child.
It's not
Don't come in
stupid.
and make up some bit. You want to get married with Gary?
Ask to bring Lynn in.
You're going to get married to a woman.
She's right outside.
That's going to be, yeah, you're going to love
fine.
that.
That's
This is
fine.
the seatbelt queen, is it?
All right, Gary.
Howard sounds homophobic here.
Oh, yeah. I mean, throughout all
Like
this stuff, he's
legitimately or projecting.
projecting,
Like
right?
Yep.
So Gary just made a comment. It's not the seatbelt queen, which this woman has been on the show before. I couldn't find the clip. I think it was taken down, but she's some friend of Richard's that he brought to an LA show that the Stern Show did. And her father like invented the seatbelt or something. So she's an heiress to the seatbelt fortune. It's insane.
That's bizarre.
And I remember hearing that LA show that she was on initially, and it just reminded me of how low rent the guests were on Howard in the early 90s. Like they had that guy Shadow Stevens from the Hollywood Squares on and everything. Like it was just a bizarre clip. Bizarre collection.
He was like a kind of a Rick Dees DJ, like a nationally syndicated kind of
right
top Casey Kasem kind of DJ, where he was sort of nationally known, almost like Ryan Seacrest before Ryan's big mullet, big booming voice. He did the voice of comic book nerds here. Doc Samson on the Hulk animated series in the late 90s.
He kind of looks like Mark Harris too. Like if you see
yeah.
He's a big shock of black hair. Yeah. Anyway.
Sunflower, that's really funny. My tits are agnostic. That's a great callback to Emily. That's such a good line.
That's funny.
I got to go. Goodbye.
Right.
Good luck on your marriage. Linda, you're not really marrying Richard, are you? What? Are you really? Here, put the microphone. You get along great?
Yes.
You know, Richard doesn't like, he likes you, but he doesn't love you.
No, I love Lynn.
That's not true.
Kiss her then. Let me see you kiss her on the mouth with your tongue.
Come on, stop it.
Kiss her. Let's see you kiss her. Kiss her.
This is embarrassing.
Kiss her. If that's a girl that you...
Could this be construed as sexual harassment in some circles, John O'Reilly?
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah.
I don't know. Could you make a case this is like goading him and it's sort of like sexual harassment? You're forcing him to...
And I wonder how litigious the Stern Show was about, like, with the interns and the intern beauty pageant, like making them sign contracts that there's no morals clauses in the contracts and everything.
Yeah, they got the release. Yeah, sure. It's a contract that says we can do whatever we want and you can't sue us.
Right.
It's really, they should just write that. That should be the legalese contract language. We can do whatever we want and use your likeness and you can't sue us. Just write it out. Like, don't even try to do the because I know they want to write it where it's so the print is so small and the words are everything's a $10 word that you don't have the energy to read it. You give up 2 paragraphs in and you just sign it because you want to give up.
Exactly.
Rick the Electrician says Sam felt like the first Sam Kinison. Felt like the most major death of the show, contemporaries. He was very young at the time. We're talking about Howard in his 40s. Howard is 38 here, right? Yeah, born in 54. Yeah, he's 38 here. Now that we're in the 50s, doesn't seem 40. And I know. I told my sister the other day, I go, 57 is the new 35. Because we were texting each other and she fell asleep at like 1 in the morning. You know my hours.
Right.
And she fell asleep and she goes, sorry about that. I fell asleep. I can't party like I used to. And I'm like, 57 is the new 35.
Exactly.
But it is though.
True.
It's you broads are aging. I saw Halle Berry today on Instagram. I almost rubbed one out, but I had to stay eye on the prize.
You're right. We have a show
climbing all over. You can't look any better. She's 57.
God, is she?
Yep. That's not 57 when we were kids. That's not.
Look at the Golden Girls cast. They were younger than 57. Yeah, right.
Fucking Rue McClanahan's Winona Ryder's age now.
Right. God, that's so
It's
sick.
crazy.
Oh my God.
You're attracted to, kiss her. I'm attracted to her. I'll kiss her.
Okay, you kiss her first, and
You're
then I'll
damn
kiss
right.
her. Okay, if I kiss her, you'll kiss her?
You want me to kiss your fiance?
Okay,
you get her over here. I'll not only kiss her, I'll take her and I'll pull her pants down and spank her.
I did not want to come in here.
I know you did because she thinks that you.
Come here, honey. Come here. I'm going to
No,
take you out.
don't call her honey.
Come over here, Lynn.
I'm shy. I'm shy.
Come over here, Lynn.
I'm very shy.
Come over here. I want to show you something. Come here. I'll give you a little rub down.
Now listen. I'm sorry. We're going to be at the wedding. We're going to be sitting.
No,
at
I
the
know.
table.
She's a girl that you bring along. I know she's married to somebody else.
No,
I know you're a married
she's not
woman.
married to anybody else.
Sarah writes here, I loved a good Sarah, wouldn't Sarah be great at Game of Canasta with the Golden Girls, like with Entenmann's cheesecake at 3:00 in the morning, and they talk about their feelings.
She's an old soul as well.
Yeah.
Davyd and
I
Sarah,
love Sarah,
definitely.
yeah. Old Maid, Hearts, all of it. I love it. I remember wanting to buy this dealer meal just because they were cards. And in adulthood, I actually bought Sweat into the 60s. Jesus Christ.
Oh,
I was in a remember that Jeff Ross joke about Joan Rivers? I was in an outlet the other day. The Tanger outlets. And Forever 21, and it says Joan Rivers wants Forever 71. She shops at Forever 71.
I got a date. You want a real date, Richard?
No, I'm going.
No, I'll give you a real date. Hey, sending Gorilla.
Early
Hold on a
Grillo
second.
appearance.
I got someone for you for a real date.
I didn't.
Now you're gonna have a good time at the
So
wedding.
you're going to stay at the wedding? You're going to just take
Yeah, I'm
her
gonna go,
out?
sure.
Are you going to stay and dance and have fun?
Come here, Gorilla.
Welcome to Loser Club. Had Richard Simmons and Ralph multiple times at his house. Very suspicious. That's a great point.
Totally.
The Loser Club.
This is like my early. I mean, 92. It seems like one of the earliest appearances of Grillo. By the way.
By the way, I should also add this is like the first year of my daily listening.
Oh, okay.
This is when I really latched on. My cousin hooked me. He and I drive it in together, and he pushed it on me, and it was a great bonding experience. This is like my first 91 or 92 is my first full year listening to the show. That
Gotcha.
hooked me. And it was Howard's interview skills really that I think was the thing I loved the most. That was the thing that I'm like, I couldn't believe
They're
he would
great.
ask Branford Marsalis that he quit the Tonight Show because it wasn't in the black community. He was viewed as an Uncle Tom. And he
Right.
couldn't. I thought that was such a ballsy, and I had wondered that myself.
Right.
I'm like, it can't be cool in the black community to be Jay Leno's Bojangle bitch, as Riley Martin would say.
There
Gorilla, here. Grab that microphone.
You weren't even asked to the wedding.
No, I really wasn't working here when Gary.
Gorilla, you mind sitting on Richard's lap?
Yes.
You do. All right.
You guys are terrible. Terrible.
Welcome, Mr. Villatoro. That's a double detention for you. An hour and 13 minutes late. Maybe that's why your vocabulary has been suffering in the last couple of months. It'll show on your report card next time you throw out your 5-week notice to your parents. Welcome, Mr. Villatoro.
But Gorilla, you're not interested in going to the
I
Gary's
have a
wedding?
date. I
know you have a date. Hey, would we go to the wedding with Richard?
Yeah, I would go.
You would?
He's got a date though.
All right.
Sarah with one of the lines of the night. Richard Simmons is a better father to those Stern broads than Howard himself.
He
was.
picks
I agree,
the third
Sarah.
one's name, for God's sake,
Sarah's killer when she's in the chat, when she has time to craft something like that. The gunslinger really comes out. She's killer in all these chats.
All right, go ahead.
We're
then.
going to have a lot of fun. We're going to dance all night like Richard said.
I tried.
We're gonna dance.
Is that the only gift you're giving Gary? Is cartoon art, or are you going to give him another gift?
You chintzy, cheap boss. And as I went through your home,
Yeah.
all you do is spend money. I mean,
Right.
everything.
That's
is
right.
$7,000 table. Okay.
Oh, Howard, love this.
Davyd, this is great stuff, right,
Yeah.
Bon?
Oh yeah, this is nicely edited. The sound level's great as well. Good work, Davyd.
Thank you.
Who's analyzing the sound level? What a thanks,
I
nerd.
am
Thanks,
analyzing
nerd.
the sound level. The last show was very loud. I realized afterwards. I had the volume on 2 during the show, but that's not the point. I have sensitive ears, John, and so does Davyd, because we're ensconced
Musicians.
in music. It's bullshit.
Right.
I know.
By
it's
the way,
bullshit.
I was watching the other night. This band, they live in 4 different places, and they played together, and they did an amazing cover of Anita Baker's Rapture of Love. Na, 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 and they all did it from 4 different, and they were young. They were like in their mid-20s. Could you guys play in a band together? Could, like, Davyd plays the keyboard, Bon plays the drum, I of course sing and play the skin flute.
Exactly. We could probably record different layers of the song and then just kind of fake play them for the video component, so the audio is kind of produced officially, and we just record it in layers, and then we just fake play in like a Zoom call or something.
Right.
John's thinking live. Live, there's too much what they call latency in the biz, which means delay. So we'd be out of time, but I'd give it a shot, Davyd. I'll get the acoustic guitar if you get on the piano sometime, and I'll start strumming live. If we want to try it live, it'd be interesting.
We could use audio movers, which is sort of like would keep us in sync too. Like we could, just in order to hear each other. So it's possible.
I don't want to arpeggiate too much, nor do I want to situation.
I'll
hang back and handle that part.
You're singing in this thing, John. You're gonna sing. You're gonna be the one everybody's talking about after it. You're gonna be
we'll do the stereo MCs connected. I really sang that. I really sang that.
Oh my God, I haven't heard that. Oh, John, you are so classic. I haven't heard someone say the stereo MC since like 1996 or something.
I performed that song in the West Village with Moth.
Oh my God, you're amazing.
I really did. People like Richard Simmons are the last of their kind. Yes, Rick the electrician. Most people know who is from California, by the way. Same and truly unique people. Like, there's a huge California contingent too, by the way. Richard will truly be missed when they are gone. He is gone. Rick, I agree with you.
Right?
No, that's not true.
Oh, please.
It's not true.
And the artwork.
Yeah,
hundreds
I don't
of
have any artwork.
I bet most probably in your house you have. Oh, yeah.
I don't have a picture hanging on the wall.
You must probably have $300,000 to $400,000.
All right, fine.
Artwork.
Okay, well,
God damn, Howard's trying to shut him down. This is such a great clip.
It's so
Anytime you bring up his money, and this is great. Listen to him.
Thank you. That's
And
a
so
compliment.
what is Gary going to get?
Thank
A
you.
check for $1,500?
No, some cartoon art.
I spent that on the frame on the cartoon.
You don't even know
art.
what cartoon you got him.
Yes, I do.
Howard, stop being mean.
I'm not being mean.
Yes, you are.
I am not. He
I think
loves
you're
it.
afraid of Richard.
I'm not afraid at all. Ask him. Am I?
I think that I threaten you a little bit because I'm honest and I'm real caring and you're not.
Wow.
I'm so much more caring than you.
That's a very sincere criticism of it. I believe every word of that.
Yeah.
Richard Simmons is a chubby chaser in real life, says Johnny bye-bye, or just tells the videos. I think he means every word of it. I think he's the real deal. I do. I don't think he can keep that up.
So they weren't really friends. No.
Yeah.
I think they did socialize a little bit, but I'm sure Richard picked up like Howard's a total closet case, or maybe it was also like this shtick with Howard. Letterman ripped off, the sort of being contentious and calling Richard feminine and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Letterman ripped off for his Richard Simmons appearances on Letterman too. So
There were a lot of those. You're right, and they would do like filmed video shorts together. No pun intended.
Right.
Like three. Letterman would do those things. Right.
Yeah.
Brother, Mr. D says my brother and I spent an evening with D here in spent an evening with Susanna Hoffs. No, not like that. She had a boyfriend. She was sweet, pretty talented, remarkable. And yep, look at her now. Still lovely. Thank you, Mr. D. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Look around. Stern and Gary Richard closing remarks.
This is the end.
He was a good guest. I loved Richard Simmons. Richard Simmons is a lot of fun. And I'm sorry he still doesn't come.
Is that Shaka Khan?
Wait, the song?
No,
no, the
was that Ray
chick.
Stern?
Oh, it's
She does
okay.
a great voicing.
Yeah, it sounds like Shaka Khan. You're right.
on. And we enjoyed Richard Simmons. We saw him many times privately, and we had a lot of fun with Richard Simmons. I liked him very much, and I thought he was a good guest.
There again, is referring to what kind of interviews. It got a little too hot for Richard because of this interview, and at some point it was too much, and he didn't come back.
I never understood why Richard left the show. We used to prank with him, break his balls, all that stuff. I really felt like he seemed to get it, but then there were times I felt like he didn't get it. I don't know what it was. I just know what I think it was. And we had a guy on who had been in the Inquirer who had claimed that Richard had paid him to spank him. I remember that's that soundbite that you hear where you go, "Daddy's boy's been a bad boy." That's what the guy claims Richard said. But whatever it was, he stopped talking to us. And that was sad for me. He was at my wedding. He would call my mother all the time. He visited my brother in the hospital. And I really felt, probably of any guest on the show, I felt a genuine friendship with him. We would go out to dinner when he was in town. He would come over to my house for dinner. And I really enjoyed hanging out with him. I mean, if you went out with him in public, he was frantic, constantly frantic. But if you could just sit him down for a little.
Yeah, Sarah's gifting her phone number, everyone. That's one of the gifts. That's good, Frank. Yeah, Ida, it's hilarious, right? This is how it used to be. This is how Steve Dahl is all the time.
Well, I'll have a conversation with him. He's a great guy.
Richard Simmons.
All the people that I got to meet on the Howard Stern show were all amazing. Really, all amazing. I love Robin. Even though I never got to really know her that well, I just respected her so much. I respected her opinions. I thought she was a really kind lady. She badgered me a little bit. But it was all in good fun. Nothing ever really terrible came out of her mouth. And then there was Stuttering John, who, a sweeter guy doesn't exist. And when I stopped doing the Howard Stern show, he would always sort of pop up. And at that...
Anyone listen to John's Daily Podcast? Has he played that clip? Does he know this exists? He'd be all over that, bragging.
Yeah.
He would love this. Someone send this to Stuttering John. I guarantee he plays it with the death of Simmons. There's no way he knows about history of Howard Stern and that. There's no way.
Totally.
Johnny Meyer says, actually went to Richard Simmons' house a few times in the late 92. Wow. Man, you were out there like early like Davyd was, because he was a courier, which is, I saw all his dogs. He was there once. He gave me the gayest fisheye I had ever been thrown.
That's great.
Well, you haven't met Davyd yet, Johnny, because the second gayest fisheye is coming.
Yeah,
very soon.
wait till I molest you. Right.
At the time, I was still very hurt, and I really wasn't willing to talk about it. But it was always good to see him, and he always had a smile on his face for me, and he always asked me all kinds of crazy questions, which I never answered, but a nicer guy you really couldn't be around.
There's no fucking music now.
Wow.
Hey, how you doing, eh? My name is Louis Grease, you fuck.
That's great. That's great.
That was
Ryan Seacrest was neighbors with Richard Simmons. Johnny is a good Hollywood insider, like a Davyd is. You can't bring a name up. He doesn't have a story. He can't connect
some connections
to himself.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Most important.
What about Kevin Bacon? Davyd, you got something for Kevin Bacon?
I was going to say, right. Johnny Meyer is the Kevin Bacon of the Deppening.
That would be so ironic if Kevin Bacon's the only guy he doesn't have a story about.
That would be great. Yeah.
Speaking of, that was Black Mass. Kevin Bacon's a favorite actor of mine, and I couldn't wait for him and Depp to be in the same movie. And of course, they have 0 scenes together in Black.
Oh, yeah.
0. They're never on screen together.
Get it up together in there in the booth.
You know, Richard, have a little understanding.
No, he's up for an Emmy, honey. It's a one-take fucker.
No, and now you tell me not to.
I'm telling you right now, you do this right, and just smile in front of the goddamn camera.
Oh my God.
Is anybody on the teleprompter? Right. Fuck.
Davyd.
Oh, Davyd, man, you're a legend. Wow.
I'll
be honest.
Yeah,
I mean, that was more entertaining than I thought it was going to be. I thought that was going to be like the usual Richard stuff, and this was different. So, thank you.
I thought it was going to be good, but not that good.
Listen to your fans, Davyd. Look, here's another one. They're all. It's just applause. It's kind of nothing special.
That turned out better than I thought. I was nervous about whether the clips would be too boring, but I really did try to find like just any stuff where he's being adversarial with Howard and trying to reveal, behind the fourth wall. Those were the clips that I was after. So
it's I remember some of that, but it fits in. The money part I love because I think it was Marta that was telling us we should do a special on Howard's money. Just analyze his finances. Just do nothing but try to find clues over the years of that sort of better than 1 percentile lifestyle he lives, where you could find that Minority dropped the Pelopad, right, and shit like that, and just find, and that would be one of them. That's back in '92. He's got 5-figure artwork on his wall in '92, and he does not want you to know that on any level.
Exactly.
Mr. D, Chris Rock says, with Howard, it's all about the money. Yes, it is, Mr. D. Yes, it is. Richard did know the truth. Tamara Francois. Richard did know the truth. Even though we never fully came out of the closet, Richard was an icon, and he paved the way. Davyd, that was tremendous. Davyd, you want me to, I'm sorry, Bon, you want me to add something here?
Well, if you want to go to that, if you want to go
no,
to
I was just going to
or...
play one more Richard Simmons thing that we all kind of know, and
go
put
for
back
it.
in, just to end with Richard Simmons here. So this is, I think a lot of people know these sound drops, but this is the video from it. So this is what Gary doesn't mention in that video. This is why he doesn't come back.
Yeah.
Hi, Richard. This is Jenny.
Jenny, good morning to you.
Good morning. I've been the biggest fan of yours for so long.
He's a terrific guy.
You're so amazing. I just wanted to know if perhaps you would want to go on a date with me.
Well, how old are you?
I'm 22 years old.
Would you date a 22-year-old?
Very mature 22.
Are you hot?
I'm super hot, and I exercise all the time, Richard, and I eat right just for you.
Why not make love to her? When is the last time you made love to a woman? I'm talking about had good sex.
Gary!
Oh, God.
So this is the clip you hear all the time. They play. This is what it's from. I want to say thank you to somebody here. Oh, thank you, Ida Greenbacks. I love you, Ida. I do believe that Deppening and Gunk have the best chats. I agree 100%. Couldn't agree more. Thank you, Ida.
Why won't you entertain this? You're so
because I am focused on. I am focused on. Gary,
get over here and talk about your ass.
It's not about sex, Richard. I just find you very sweet and attractive.
Oh, I never thought of my. You sound like a beautiful. Because I'm not attractive. I'm just sort of middle. I'm sort of in the middle somewhere.
You're gorgeous, Richard.
Oh yeah. I'm never. I don't.
Do you think she wants you for your money?
She sounds like a very sweet girl.
Money. I make a lot of money. It's your thighs. That's what does it for me.
Your what?
Your thighs. I see your little shorts that you wear, and those thighs. I can't control myself.
Howard.
Wow. Cut her out? You want me to hang up on her?
Thanks for calling.
Why do you want to hang up on her?
Because I wanted to talk about something really important.
Right, I gotta hang up.
He has no interest in dating this woman.
He doesn't want to date you for some reason.
No,
That's a different
I'm sure
woman.
you're a beautiful woman, Jennifer.
Or pussy, Richard. Which one do you like more?
What?
Who is this person?
All right, goodbye.
So obviously we can all figure out she's from the back office, right?
Right.
Do you really think that's a real caller? Does anyone believe that's no? And so they're trying to do that thing where they go, Richard, we want you to admit you don't like women.
Right.
And so he's getting rattled. You can't really tell there. I mean, he looks like he's on the verge, but So that here's another. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think Richard's last time on the show was like 2013 or something. So it's like post Marcy insinuating
there
herself.
was a 6-year gap between this and that.
And it's we saw some still images of like Richard in drag, like he's in that purple kind of drag outfit. And it's funny because at that point, if you remember like Gilbert's last interview, Marcy had gotten Howard on such a sort of formalized interview question thing where he's talking to Gilbert like he's never met him before because he's trying to do a getting things done type of interview.
Yes.
And he did the same thing with Richard on Richard's last interview, where Richard came in, I think, expecting like, oh, we're going to do our shtick where we get contentious with each other. And Howard just made it like a sincere, complimentary, kiss-ass interview of Richard Simmons. And I think Richard was kind of confused by it because it's like, what, are we not going to do our back and forth kind of adversarial shtick, you know? So
no,
anyway.
He wasn't read the Pelican Brief Riot Act, right? He just
exactly.
Ordinarily, like in the past, like he probably would have spoken to like Gary beforehand and knew. But you're absolutely right. So he did this like by the numbers, phony baloney, you know,
kiss-ass celebrity interview.
Wikipedia, right? Interview, as we always say.
Exactly. Yeah.
Our show is the number one place for a guest.
Good stuff, Bon. That echo is that crazy. That echo, that Pelican Brief echo.
McGraw Hill Building echo.
Gary, Gary, I want to leave now.
No, Richard.
No, I do because
Don't say that.
Well, because I'm trying to make a point, and you won't let me talk and do anything.
Last time you came.
Picked on me. You picked on my shorts. You picked on my uniform. You picked on my past.
I'm not picking on you.
And you know I'm in pain. I fell. I can hardly walk. I can't. And he's laughing.
Howard, you should at least plug what he's plugging.
I'm going to.
Gary, why don't you, Gary, get in here? What's wrong? You're supposed to be here with me.
Richard, what are you plugging? Go ahead.
So Gary was going to be his shield, which he obviously backed away from. And Richard's like, why are you not getting in my way? Every time he tries to gay shame me or tries to out me.
Yeah.
I'm not plugging. I'm just doing something to try to help our children.
Go ahead.
I know you have children, and they never really had a weight problem. But the majority of people out there have kids, and if you've been watching the news...
I knew you were...
Okay, this is the last. I think this better be the one. I better have not. If not, I don't give a shit. I'll just move it to the next time.
Yeah.
Richard Simmons, this is C. This better be it.
Thank you for coming back and enjoying the show. You might be my favorite all-time celebrity guest. You have the greatest sense of humor in this.
This guy, the juxtaposition of a typical, like, you know, whatever, Joe from Staten Island calling Richard Simmons is like their big juxtaposition.
Studio. I loved when you guys dangled the food out of the ceiling.
Mark.
That is a classic.
No, Mark, I'll tell you what the classic.
I'm what is the classic?
My
Thank you,
what did you just say? And then he fell. That I don't think was from falling, personally.
Where's the welder?
I've seen welts like that.
Hip. Oh no, I've
seen welts like that in porno films.
No,
you've seen it on Ralph. Immediately, Howard goes, I've seen welts like that. I've seen that. And then he's going to back away from it.
Oh,
Let me see it.
It is so. No, Howard. I'm in such pain. Why can't you have respect for my pain?
It's a cylindrical.
You know what our favorite moment in my living room?
You dressed up.
Listen to Artie dropping a cylindrical in the background.
Yeah, right. Artie's the smartest.
That was my favorite thing to do is listen to Artie slip something in the back, like a sports reference. He would say like Barry Larkin or something like that in the background. You're like, wow. And nobody got it in the whole fucking show. Nobody. Right. Barry Larkin's like a Hall of Fame shortstop. And not saying that everybody should know, but it was so lost on this crowd.
Right.
Like that.
Man, I remember that. That was wild.
And
really, he did. I'm not being funny.
Like, well, a man? What is he?
No, I dressed up like a
Thank you, Tendrils. I'm the hugest arm in Bond, and of course, Davyd fan because they think the same way. And so we do have a lot of common face. Same TV shows. I was belly aching to Bon Jovial last night that I didn't get to watch Mayor of Kingstown in text. I gave you that like melodramatic text at 7 a.m. I go, oh, Bon, I can't watch Mayor of
I haven't watched it either. If it's any consolation, I'm holding them. I'm getting blue balls. I've got 3 episodes I haven't watched now. So
Jeremy Renner, blue balls.
Yes.
I absolutely. I you know how I'm watching it like slow because I don't want it to end. I just don't.
You changed my opinion. I would have watched it once a week and just now I'm saving them, and then it's like a movie. Each time I watch it, it's like watching a goddamn movie for
I was
2
watching
hours.
4 minutes at a time.
Portioning it out.
We don't want it to end. I think I'm going to cry at the end of this season, John.
It has a ton of rewatchability, Bon. If you want to go back, it has a ton of rewatchability. Like, I don't say that easily because there's so much to watch now and time is short, but Jesus, you can easily watch it all over again. I have you know how I feel about the season 1 finale when they the prison extraction. That's
my God. That's the double episode, I think. Insane.
Yeah, it is.
Insane.
It is
I was sending you messages all through it. I kept sending you emails going, "Oh my God, this is amazing. This is the best thing I've ever seen in my life."
If anyone's looking for a show to watch, Mayor of Kingstown, which Davyd gifted us all with Paramount subscriptions. Yes. I highly recommend. You will not be disappointed. If you love prison, it's way better than Oz, in my opinion. I think it's
very
way better
masculine, though.
Yeah.
That's a problem. Like, I don't know if a lot of chicks will like it. I don't know. If you're a girl and you watch it, let me know, because I'm interested in knowing if chicks enjoy this, because it's all very testosterone and
I don't think it's trying too hard. I mean, it's supposed to be, because I think you could. Yeah, it's not universally that broads would like it, but the acting's tremendous, and it's never boring. Ever.
John, I would love to do a whole podcast on that show. If we did.
Watch along.
Yeah.
Buchwald, the G Canada says, is worth 150. We're getting the Buchwald, G. I promise you. 150 million, says G Canada.
Let's stop pretending. Richard's not the most macho guy on the planet. He's he embraces both sexes.
Dressed up like a ruffian.
You're sometimes very womanly and sometimes manly. Yeah, he relates to both sexes.
Tendril says that Howard's resentment towards Richard is because he's 100% the balls. 100% has to do with Richard being braver than he was to be out.
It's so true, and that's why I think, like, Howard would, in the early 90s, say Richard was the best guest or Mark Harris was the best guest, because that was when he was the most, like, at the window of the closet that he was hiding in to, have a slight, Richard pass him some cigarette in his prison cell,
Yeah. Good
of being gay.
Mayor of Kingstown episode right there.
There you go. Yeah. One of the things I'd love to do on Lotus Notes is there's a Boy George interview that Howard does. I know he did many of them, but
I have that.
Yeah. So there's one where not the one-on-one for the that early 90s one-on-one show he did, but there was one where Boy George came in and Howard was just
the early
talking.
E show. I know that. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And Howard's like, I know all the drag queen terms, and he's like,
we gotta see that.
And he's actually very oddly respectful to Boy George, because I think where Mark and Richard were sort of cagey about their sexuality, Boy George was like out and proud. So Howard was actually kind of respectful to him. He wasn't making like the hacky gay jokes at Boy George's expense. So it's very interesting, depending on what kind of gay guy he had on the show, how he treated him.
Okay, I think I'll absolutely go over that. That's a great find by you.
Yeah,
I would probably never watch that unless you said that. I would never let me go back and watch a Boy George interview.
And it's only interesting for Howard, how Howard treats him. What Boy George says, I don't really care about, but just to see Howard's reaction is interesting. Yeah.
Yes, Frank the Tank. Richard did some work for AIDS and Gary's dying brother. Yes, that was a big component in their relationship. Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, speaking of Gary, what is Davyd? You people tend to think is Gary like attractive to you people? Like,
we talked about this.
We talked about this. The swarthiness. Is there something with Gary and gay people? And
I said to you, what I said to you was, like, I think in the early '90s when he was in full Hall & Oates mode with the mustache and everything, he does resemble someone that would be in that William Friedkin movie Cruising with Al Pacino.
That's Al Pacino. Yes.
Oh, it's a classic movie.
That's early 80s New York. I think it was shot in 79, right?
Very. Yeah. So I wonder if that's what gay guys were responding to. And then, it's funny because I think
biker thing, right? Like the biker with the like fucking Freddie Mercury. Gary looks like Freddie Mercury.
That too, right?
Yeah.
And I think in the mid '90s, when sort of like, you know, Grillo and before Ganji got a little chubby, like he was cute and Grillo was super cute in the mid '90s. So I think I'm sure they sort of replaced Gary as the boy toys on the show.
Okay, thank you for that.
Yes,
and an insight into you people. Thank you.
Exactly. Yeah, who's attractive, who's hot, and who's not.
That's why people like him. Is that a bad thing?
Howard. I just wanted to say, no, it's okay.
Wait, let me apologize, Al Sharpton.
No,
Richard, wrong. Richard.
Richard, stay.
You appeal to both sexes.
No, if you want me to call and help you, you let me know.
My
favorite moment was
Richard, come here. Come here. Don't leave like this. Richard, you're making a mistake. Don't leave like this.
I knew Howard would get out of line.
Did I say something wrong?
So he storms out. You get to see like a little fourth. He's cruising through the. Speaking of cruising, look at the picture of Artie behind Richard.
Eating a muffin.
Look, did you hear Artie in the background there? He just really couldn't give a crap. He just goes, "Oh, Richard, don't leave." He's just eating, and he never cared. Unless it was him getting taunted, he would just be like, whatever. He's leaving.
I also think because this is clearly their bit. Like Richard is. You know, yes, I think Richard intentionally left and was never really actually offended. It was just his cue to make his performative exit. But I also think Artie was so he was so embarrassed by any fake or forced bit that Howard would do. So he probably just didn't want to get involved in it, you know?
Yeah, he has very little involvement in that. Even though he did the thing with Queer Eye for the Straight Guy where they made him over and then he got really homophobically drunk at the end.
Yeah.
Which is really a good thing to go over, I think. That was a crazy.
That would be interesting. Yeah.
And those guys, the Queer Eye for those guys are cool. Those guys, I saw what's his name? Carson Kressley. With Monique, when I visited her in the city, he was at this diner in Hell's Kitchen and I was about to go up to him and do this whole, and she stopped me from, I should have blew her off. I should have just gone up to him, but I was going to do a whole Howard thing. I was going to ask him about the show, and then she just was like, "No, don't." How could he be starstruck over Carson fucking Kressley?
I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Honestly.
The Pelican is jealous of Richard. Yes. See that picture of Artie in the top left? That's everything wrong with the persona he has on the show. He's much more than a dude shoving a fucking Burger King. What was the McDonald's the goddamn pancakes over the eggs. What is it called again? A
McGriddle.
McGriddle. Thank you, Davyd.
Yeah.
So that to me is everything wrong with the persona he had on the show. That picture just says everything.
Have you listened to Artie's interview on Mark Maron? He did years ago. He did it.
Yes, I did.
And
yes, I did.
you get I was just fascinating listening to him saying, like, you know, he started his own production company and he was you know, like he clearly is like a super smart guy and just it's a shame.
Insightful, thoughtful, deep, all those things. Yeah, I know. He's all those things, and the drugs and the fat shaming is just it's the least interesting thing to me about him. It really is. I mean, I wish I could tell him that. If anyone knows art, tell him I said that because who knows who he's running into. But I really mean that. Those things are the least interesting things about him. It's a shame. And I think he would have been fine if he never hooked up with the show. I think he has a lot of charisma and adaptability, and someone would have taken him. He would have been the sidekick in 1,000 movies, and God knows he would have dropped in. He would have had a nice little, and today with the internet, he would have been a comedian, a touring comedian. God knows, maybe he would have been one of those Rogan guys, right?
Yeah.
God knows he's funnier than all of them easily.
Oh,
so who knows?
By a long shot. Yeah. No, Artie's hilarious.
Rogan selling out. Is Rogan the arbiter of comedy? You don't think Artie could have been one of those guys? Easily. He's funnier than all of them combined. I don't care if it's Bert fucking Kreischer or stupid Tom Segura and the Pores and all those fucking grifting, overrated cocksuckers, all of them.
Absolutely.
You said he was womanly.
Richard. Yes.
No, he might have, some. That was after you say, please. That was after you said he was womanly.
Artie, did I say something wrong?
I think
honestly.
So Howard's actually afraid here. He's worried about fall back, and he's sort of, and do I go after him? You get a rare look at Howard actually getting out of the Oz chair and having to get up and skulk after him into the elevator. This is great.
Called him a bro.
I love Richard. I'm going to go out and say something.
You said that.
I'm going to bring him back in here. Wait.
Then he said you appealed to both sexes.
Oh, there he is. He's out the door. You could go that way and get him. Hurry.
He's in the areas.
They got to stop. Go. Follow Gary. Tell Lisa to pin him down.
Hurry, Howard. He's at the elevator.
No, don't let him go. Do not let him go. Why are you guys just standing there? Camera guys, stop the door.
What would happen if Richard Simmons shoved Lisa G to the ground out of the? How funny would that be?
That's right.
Isn't she technically harassing him? Couldn't he do that and make a case? Like, you know how gay guys can get away with feeling up women like Isaac Mizrahi with Scarlett Johansson on the red carpet. Couldn't he shove her to the ground? How great would that be? The microphone goes flying and the tape goes everywhere.
Do you remember when Clay Aiken molested Kelly Ripa on her morning show?
Yes, I remember that.
Oh my God. Speaking of who's hot and who's not, I had a huge crush on Greg, the other interviewer cameraman that's running after Richard.
Oh, Greg Carmel.
Oh, wow.
Greg Carmel.
Yeah, he's
he
a little
Twinkie.
With, yeah.
Lisa G. That's why you referenced him, right? He had that great. That's a great fight, by the way.
It is.
He's like a normal guy on that show. Like he's just like he's just like a normal camera, almost like Luis the board op. Like he doesn't have.
He's the Peter in Vanderpump Rules. He's the Peter.
Yeah. Peter Madrigal. Good.
Peter Madrigal. Right.
I need to get
I'm
some
heterosexual and I
Vanderpump
got
tropes.
his last name and you don't.
Yeah. Who's the homosexual here? Right.
Oh, stop! Will somebody stop?
Will someone go? Stop it! Jeez!
Greg is standing there.
Fred is really animated here. He can't wait to gay shame him, I guess. I've never heard Fred so excited. You hear him? Stop him! Listen to this shit.
Jeez!
Greg is standing.
Stop it! Jeez!
Greg is standing there. Oh, there he is.
Open the door!
The poor guy has to go downstairs.
Don't leave like that.
There he is.
Come on. Go, I'm ready to go. What do you mean like that? I'm okay, Howard. Richard, come on.
The guy sitting in the elevator's having a great time.
Richard.
Oh, he's just.
Oh, Richard, come on.
Guy in the elevator's on his way to work. He's seen Howard Stern consoling and crying. Richard.
Come on. Come back in. I want to call it. For real. Richard, please. Don't go. I want to go.
Oh, come on.
That face says it all, right? That's the sincerity. That's
good freeze frame.
I don't know. I didn't even mean. I just was lucky I caught it like that. I didn't mean to even freeze it like that.
Look at that.
Look at him. I don't know. I'm focused on the plunging neckline on a
Barbados,
5-year-old. Right. Look at that. Button up your shirt, old man. That's what Sarah wrote in a meme one time. Welcome, Isabel.
Rich, come on, man. Massage his back. Come on. Hey, let the guy go. He's got to get down to accounting.
Tell him to come out of the elevator at least. That guy's got to go.
No, come on.
Tell him to come out of the elevator. We want to talk about this.
All right, I'm sorry.
Look at the fake sincerity. The show should be. Johnny Bye says. Johnny, have you any word on the Barisi book? I cannot wait to poke through that if you can get it. The Accidental Fixer. The show should be renamed Jeremy Renner Drives to Meetings in Kingstown.
Aww.
That's
we love that show. Let us have that, guys. Let us have that.
Don't reveal that you like anything.
I love his executive.
Yeah.
His executive assistant in the office.
I feel awful. It's all right.
You call him a chick.
I'll leave you alone.
Yeah, I mean, how do you get over that? What?
Tim Sabian.
Oh, salt and pepper hair.
What a silver fox.
Tim Sabian.
Oh, Tim's
sorry,
ride
Richard.
down with him.
I hope you're all right.
Tim knows how to handle this.
Yikes.
Tim's chubby. By the time Tim gets out of there, he'll be a svelte 180 pounds.
Oh, gee.
Richard's going to have him exercising.
How great a bit would that be if Richard Simmons got him exercising in the elevator and they could film it? That's so funny.
the door opens and they're doing jumping jacks.
The door opens. I love that imagery. Brilliant.
That's so funny.
That's classic Davyd there. Oh, I love it.
All it makes me do is miss Artie all the more, by the way.
I know.
So rest in peace, Richard Simmons. I think you're way fun. That compilation you made, Davyd, makes me respect him even more than I kind of did.
Right. Yeah, as much as you could respect him.
As much as I could in the tremendous. So on to.
Oh.
Did you just make that, Bon?
Nah, I had it made.
Oh, all right.
For a while. But I mean, that's sending him off into the ether, isn't it?
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. From beyond.
I wonder if this is the last. Wasn't there some shit? Anyone want the news feeds today? There's some conspiracy about his death. It was actually a fire of some kind.
Really?
And that's not some gay metaphor.
he got burned by being a flamer, right?
I don't know if there's anything to it or it's some bullshit, but
I'm gonna look it up
it's all
now.
mysterious that he had been out of the public. I always suspected he had some sort of disease that was sort of debilitating and like physically debilitating over the last decade, and he just didn't want to be seen like that in public anymore. Is what I always thought.
This is what we do on the Deppening when we do a jump street. We do a 21 arm street to segue to the next segment. Sarah made this, and I absolutely love this. This is called Weintraub Bites the Big One because it's spray painted in the principal's office, and I just thought it would make this is Sarah's work.
Bite the big one, Junior.
That is Jennifer Grey, by the way, at the end.
Yes,
from
Ferris.
Sarah, that's tremendous.
That's nicely done. Beautiful.
So on to Don Buchwald. Bon Jovial sends me this. This is how this all leaked. And Tim Sabian's taking full credit for leaking this on Twitter. I lost my closest pal today. You left an iconic legacy. I miss you with all my heart and soul. Rip, my dear friend, Don Buchwald, Buchwald Talent Agency, Tim Sabian. And Buchwald was 88. Is that right? I've seen his age as old as 88 and as young as 77. It's no wonder that Ralph Macchio is one of his guys.
Right. I've seen mostly 88.
I can't imagine things ended well with Buchwald and Sabian. Right? I mean, after the Artie story about Howard firing him and they moved him to Opie and Anthony because Tim had to take care of his hospice. How could that possibly be? How could that have ended well with those two? It's impossible.
Yeah. I wonder if he's just trying to make nice publicly on Twitter, just to keep the... Is Tim still working?
No, I don't. I think he does some freelance shit. I think he was heading up a podcast company, but I don't know if he still does it.
Okay.
Steve Cohen, I know this guy. He's now the one of the head of sports programming for Sirius XM. He used to work for WFAN as the producer for Mike and the Mad Dog. So when I was a teenager, I used to kind of prank them or call them all the time. And he loved me because I would talk about non-New York things. Like he's a fan of the Raiders. He's a fan of who's his favorite NBA? He was a Chicago Bulls fan before Jordan was even there, and we loved the same music. And I would talk to him like off the air all the time, and they would like dump. And he was a really cool guy. Now he got promoted to like the head of sport. He's a huge NFL nerd, and he tweeted about Sabian. He wrote rest in peace, my dear Don from Bensonhurst. I guess Buchwald must have called WFAN as Don from Bensonhurst. An incredible friend, mentor, and philanthropist. When I was down, you lifted me up. You made me smarter, wiser, and taught me to be a deep thinker. Amazing that we first bonded over New York Giants football. Deepest condolences. And then Captain Jenks tweeted. I got this from Reddit, by the way. Corky Romano.
Hey, John, are you showing these tweets because we're still seeing the Tim Sabian one?
No, I'm reading it from my phone.
Oh, okay, cool.
I didn't say that. I'm sorry. I'm reading it from my phone. There's a guy on Twitter, Corky Romano. Corky Romano is a Donnie Brasco parody movie with fucking Chris Kattan. That's what his That's a bizarre name to use. Rip the Jenks is very mediocre. Rip the great Don Buchwald. That's very clever, Jenks. Why don't you prank call his dead aunt or something?
Yeah.
Stuttering John, who has a very contentious relationship with Buchwald. He hates his guts, I might add.
Yeah.
I would have to say something nice if I had something to say about Don Buchwald. I guess I'll give my condolences to the Buchwald family because they don't have anything to do with their dad, who I really viewed as a monster. I would love to say something nice, but I have zero things to say nice about him. Even Ralph Cirilla, I had some good things to say. When Crazy Cabby died, I had some nice things to say. I don't have anything nice to say about Don Buchwald. Don Buchwald made my life a living hell. Well, John, could not have Jesus. You gotta crochet that onto a pillow because the Buchwald family would love that. I would like. I mean, you're gonna have a lot of comments on this guy. I want to say just up front, Don Buchwald, to me, when I put it all together, was absolutely toxic for the fan. He is all about getting Howard the most money with the least amount of accountability and hours and least amount of work. So for the fan, I hate Don Buchwald. I think he is everything that disintegrated about the show. Every time he would act like Howard's way cooler and which I guess is the agent's job. But if you are a fan and the disintegration of the Howard Stern show, you don't owe it to Marcy Turk. You owe it to Howard. And number two, you owe it to Buchwald, because all this shit, and as bad as this show got, Don Buchwald is right there. Really, just his goal in every situation, get Howard all the money when nobody else gets paid. He also represents Fred and Robin. And then he has the least amount of accountability and do the least amount of live radio. So I have nothing good to say about Buchwald as a former super fan. 0.0.
I don't think he's even listened to the show.
I don't either. I find like I couldn't agree more. I don't even think he knows how bad the current Stern show was.
Right.
I am going to take this down, Bon, if that's all right, and I'm going to play.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to play. I hate this shit. I kicked Bond. Come back. I tried to take. He has to take it. I hate this. When you put he sent that to me, so I put it up, and it says kick from the studio. Then you kick him out in addition to the thing. Come back, Bond. I forgot. I didn't realize I fucked up. Jeremy Renner gets pissed off. Okay, so while he's coming back, I will play for you. Here he is. Sorry, Bond. I didn't realize you had to take that off. I took you off instead of.
I thought I took me. We're all good. Continue, please.
This is Don Buchwald. This is why you got to hate him. So he thinks Howard's too cool for Transformers. Do you know how big that movie is? And he turns down Transformers. And where did I put it?
If anyone wants to know where we're going with this, we did an episode a year or two ago on Gunk about the movies Howard turned down. So this is
good. I like that episode. That was a really good.
Oh, I loved it. You nailed it.
We both went and found some obscure stuff of things he claimed he turned down. See, that's the radio Gunk that I want to get back, that I miss and want to get back to. I cannot. My brain rots at the format with that daily shit, and that was like, putting the old gumshoe beat cop, putting the fucking strap back on and getting back on the beat like Commissioner Gordon on the streets. And I love that show, Bon. And so this is from that. This is Howard bragging that he turned down Transformers. Like he's bigger than massive, easy gig, fun gig. This is where he takes himself way too seriously. He has a stupid ass. He thinks he's got some brand or something that isn't cool. You're not as cool as Transformers. You're not at all. You are Wigatron. And so this is Howard bragging about turning down Transformers because of super agent Don Buchwald.
Job. And the movie that got voted best summer movie you haven't seen yet was Transformers. That looks like it's going to be kind of cool.
You know what? I saw a preview for that, and I was really interested. And I was like, oh, that's Transformers. I can't believe.
Welcome, JJ Thrash. Good to see you in here, sir.
They got me. I want to see it now.
I guess one of the Transformers, part of the way he transforms is part of his equipment is a radio.
Uh-huh.
And they contacted me like a week ago, and my agent, and said they wanted my voice on the radio. I said no. I thought it might be kind of cool, but my agent said, you don't want to be a fucking movie as a, some very second voice on the radio. And
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? You got a fucking 88-year-old telling you not to do it, and you're listening to him.
Yeah.
He's just because he got you the series does not mean he's the end all know all. He got you the money. Everything else is a fail for him. He's more out of touch than Hall and Oates. Fucking what's his? Go ahead, Bon. I'm sorry. I mean, Davyd.
No, I was just gonna say, like, do you know how many like stupid ass cameos Larry King made in his fucking career? Like, you know, he's like the toast of CNN and USA Today, and he's not above, you know, lending himself to be in a funny moment in a movie. You know,
Johnny Depp did a cameo in Jack and Jill and Pacino. For Christ's sake, you're not better than that. You're not cool. No one thinks you're cool. You're not fooling anybody with that bullshit. I'm too hard to get. With Buchwald, every article with him was like, Don Buchwald's office could not be reached for comment. That would be funny if you wrote it about his death. We asked about Don Buchwald's death, but Don Buchwald would not return phone calls that could not be reached for comment. Fuck you, DB.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I go, you know what? You're right. He gets me crazy. Like, I don't even know what's good for me. Thank God I have an agent. I need an agent all day in my life.
You know what else is weird? Ralph is a huge nerd. Where is Ralph in this telling him to do it? Right? You host a Geek Time and you can't. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, like, this is what I don't understand is, like, I don't know what Don saw. Two things. I don't know what Don and Howard saw as their vision for Howard's career in terms of stuff beyond the radio show. It's like, if he's not like a radio personality who can do the funny cameos a la Larry King,
right?
Then what is he going to do? But
what do you do? Right, you have no other. It's called FU money, is what it's called. It's called. He has so much money he can turn this stuff down, and that's the worst thing to happen to us as paying customers, as fans of the old show. Is the richer he gets. You know, it's that old story about losing your edge because of money. Then you turn down fun shit like this because they can't possibly meet. I'm going to say they wouldn't meet his price. I'm going to say that's bullshit. I'm going to say he wanted to do it and they wouldn't meet his price. I'm going to say he asked for too much money.
And that's what happened with when they were going to try it, when New Line was going to make Fart Man the movie. He couldn't get his merchandising, so because
he didn't own it.
Exactly. Well, that too,
because National Lampoon owned it. He acted like he did. He tried to, what do you call it? Sublet it or what's the real estate?
Sublicense it, but like
right. Co-opted. He tried to fool you to think that he owned the Fart Man when it was National Lampoon owned it. So he didn't. It would be like the fans who weren't hyper tuned in, like, oh, he stole that from National Lampoon. That Fart Man's not his creation. You know what I mean? It would add attention to it.
Right. And what Howard would say on the air is that Fart Man didn't get made because of script approval issues and not because of the merchandising. Yeah.
Yeah, Sarah, hit the like button and subscribe, everyone. Sarah's really adamant about it. She's very militant about this now. She's angry. The IRS will audit you. Sarah's got her FBI windbreaker on right now. I'm telling you, she does. It's going to work. And she's the most intimidating woman we've ever met. Almost as intimidating as an angry, strong, intelligent black woman. She almost fits the category of that as a snow bunny. Really does.
The IRS, the internal raging Sarah, will audit you.
Very nice. Master of the acronym.
Right. He gets me crazy. Like, I don't even know what's good for me. Thank God I have an agent. I need an agent all day in my life. Like, sometimes I don't even get angry enough at people who fuck with me.
Every move Don Buchwald's made, other than the marble heist at Sirius, has been a miss. America's Got Talent is a disaster. You got a lot of money, but it sullied your legacy like nothing ever has. That was a huge haymaker.
There's a question there that I guess you've been kind of asking with all this. Is it just the money that they decided it was just better to get the money and not worry about the reputation? Put out a shit book 5 or 6 years ago that got panned in reviews.
Oh yeah, comes again, which ripped off Jackie Martling's title, as a matter of fact.
Right.
So AGT, the book, were they just saying, "Look, let's just get the money because
let's do the least amount of heavy lifting." Vinny Favale ghost wrote that book, by the way. It's just like it. You're absolutely right. Whether it's Comes Again or AGT, what can I do to have the least amount? Like he used to talk about judges all the time on a American Idol. That's the easiest job in the history. But how could you pay someone to do that? I want to do that. Remember, he was jealous of Randy Jackson, Paul Abdul, and so he get him the least amount of work, the most amount of money. Integrity be damned. And every decision Buchwald's made has been shit, other than cash grabs. There's nothing artistic about it. Zero. And I don't know what this precious brand is. I'm still trying to figure it out.
And you know how we always say, like, this is the era where the Gen Xers were kind of coming into positions of power at the networks and the studio. So I could see Michael Bay being like a Howard fan from back in the day. But he's a bigger deal than like whatever shit they're going to put on. Was America's Got Talent on NBC?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like Michael Bay probably knows, like, I'm bigger than whatever fucking gong show they're going to put on NBC. So as much as I'm a fan of Howard, I'm not going to meet some ridiculous price that he's going to offer me. I'm a huge fucking deal. And I'm sure the people at NBC were so out of touch that and maybe just collectively for what Howard was going to do, had more money to actually meet his quote. So I could see that happening.
Definitely. But I also think my theory was, and I said this on Gunk, by the way, I'm also very proud of the thing I coined a lot of years ago. It was probably like the second year, that every caller that they put on now is like Jason from Buchwald, New Jersey. So you just put Buchwald in front of the state. And I'm very proud of that one, because it's just
great.
So the brand Buchwald is. You don't think Marcy had to clear everything by Buchwald, who's getting paid? Everyone talks about 10% of Davyd's hairline. Sirius paid Buchwald. Howard didn't. So that goes right. He doesn't have to pay the agency fee to Buchwald. It went right to him from Sirius. In his original contract, Sirius agreed to pay Buchwald, so Howard didn't have to. That's how made he had it.
Yeah, that's true. Like that, there's a separate fee. Like what would have been the 10% Howard would have had to surrender to Don. He just got like an extra. So Howard's being paid 110% of his worth, so that 10% goes directly to Don Buchwald, and he
112%, Davyd. 112%.
Right. Yes. Excuse me. Yes.
I had a theory on Gunk too. That my theory was that they went into the NBC Universal executives and they said, "Okay, you're going to pay me this much money because I'm going to turn my own show into a infomercial for, like I did with Sirius when I was at Terrestrial. I'm going to talk about and promote AGT all day, all the time, and you're going to pay me everything I'm worth, and you're going to move it to New York, and you're going to eat. I'm not going to LA." And he got everything he wanted from them, and he tanked the ratings. He didn't give them edge. He wasn't the Howard they thought they were getting. And it was such a disaster on every level. We've gone over this a million times, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. It's so like the two biggest no talents get, shows to be moved back to New York. Jimmy Fallon and Howard Stern get the Tonight Show and America's Got Talent to be moved from one city to another. And then they just go nowhere with it.
One of the shows we got to do, man, I want to get to it fast, is Howard's creepy friends that have all been Me Too'd, and from Matt Lauer to Weinstein. Jimmy Fallon has a massive thing with fucking Horatio Sands, where they were grooming 15 and 16-year-olds, bringing them up to Saturday Night Live's after party. In those years, and it just gets buried. I don't know why it doesn't get more attention. So we're going to do that soon, and it's a huge. I recommend. It's a Rolling Stone piece where they really chronicle the girl interviewed. They got a couple girls got interviewed for it, and they talked about the process of them. They started like a message board in the early 2000s, and they were grooming them, and they were recruiting them and bringing them to the show, and they're 15 and 16 and shit. And Horatio Sands was like he's like the Hispanic Artie for them, and he was, but Fallon was right there, bringing him on, contacting him, bringing him on, and he's an accomplice without question when you read this.
112%.
Dennis,
Dennis,
I didn't buzz you in, Dennis. How'd you get on here?
Get him out.
Go play bocce ball.
Button up your shirt, old man. Go hose your driveway down.
And then, like, he'll just go, you don't want to be a fucking... Like, he knows right away what to say.
At least he has definite opinion.
Yeah, he goes, don't want to be on some... Like, for 2 seconds, I go...
Marty's like, at least he has definite opinions. He knows it's stupid. That's the best thing he can say in that situation. He has definite opinions.
This would be so obscure and wonderful. I would love to like comb through the Artie years and find Artie giving a non-committal answer to Howard to make him feel better, but still not betray his real feelings. Like that. Just find every instance of that. Yeah.
He's a master at that. Yes, sir.
Well, it might be the big movie because It's not going to be because of you, because your fucking voice is on the radio.
Yeah, that's the Scott Shannon gig.
Let me give you an average. They suck me. Yeah, that's Rick D, Scott Shannon,
Larry King falls for that all the time.
And I almost fell for that. I said, so this movie, Transformers, could be a really big movie. He goes, so what? Cares? We want to be a little voice. I go, you know what? Fuck them. Now I'm angry at them, Brad.
The worst thing is, Bond, he could do whatever he wanted with it.
Oh, like the role they offered him was the transformer that turned into a boombox, and so it was in an elevator. It turned into a boombox and sat there on the floor. So yeah, we did that little skit about it, and it's the money though. I mean, Davyd, I don't know if you'd know, maybe just to voice something for 10 seconds in a movie, a guy like Howard, I don't know how much he could ask for that. It wouldn't be much. That's why he didn't want to do it. But he couldn't ask a movie. He couldn't ask for $500,000 for it. It'd be like $50,000 or less, probably. It's just a few words,
There's no way he's doing anything for $50,000.
Yeah, so he didn't do it because $50,000. That's it.
The other aspect of this is I could see Howard and Don being so out of touch that they think this is like a Rennie Harlan, like whatever that Andrew Dice Clay movie he did was, or that
Ford Fairlane.
Ford Fairlane, like that this is, I mean, not that they're the same genre, but like Howard's used to seeing like all the guys he mentioned, like Rick Dees and all of them get offered like shit, embarrassing things. But this is a legitimate tentpole big studio movie, and that Howard and Don don't see the difference between that and Ford Fairlane just shows how out of touch they are too. I agree it was probably primarily the money, but it is sort of, you look stupid by turning it down even to your audience. Like, what? That would be so cool to be a little part of that movie.
He thinks he's cool. He thinks he's playing hard to get. That's his whole thing. Buchwald tells him to look like he's hard to get, and he's not. You're not cool, and you're not hard to get.
Because a guy like Ralph would have said, "Do it, man. Do it for free." That's the kind of guy Ralph is. He'd be like, "Man, it's an honor to be in a movie like that. So just do it for free. Who gives a fuck?"
I would hope they had a huge argument over it that Ralph.
Yeah, they probably did. I'm sure Ralph would have been like, "Are you kidding me, man?" I'm sure Ralph has had a whole bunch of merch from
they had tons of
old Transformers and new stuff,
Thank you, Quitter. Yeah, the Rogan comedians are all grifters with fucking 4 podcasts each to collect ad. You're so right. They're all so interchangeable and forgettable and disposable. And it's such huge fucking, you're right. It's all about grifting. It's so, I love Red Bar because he just pisses on all of them. Right. I don't care if it's Tony Hinchcliffe or fucking Bert Kreischer. I love when Red Bar shits on all of them. It's the best.
Yeah.
And the letter sucks me in. It goes, we feel you represent America's icon of radio. And when that radio turns on, just for a couple of seconds to hear your voice, the crowd will go insane. And I'm like, yeah. Right. And I go, you know what? Then when my agent gets a hold of me, it's almost like he shakes me up and smacks me. And he goes,
what's wrong with you?
He goes, yeah, you're going to be some voice, a big fucking deal.
You're like AJ. All right, enough.
Yeah, I'm not, you know what?
That's what you do. You're on the radio. You're not a movie star. It's your voice. That's what you do. Right. You're going through the radio. That's not, you play yourself. That's what you do. It's not, you're listening to an 88-year-old guy tell you not to do Transformers. What a moron.
Private Parts was a fluke. And also, like, Andrew Dice Clay, okay, maybe he does some shitty movies in the early 80s, but then he goes on to be in like a really well-respected Woody Allen movie, and he's in A Star Is Born with Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper. I mean, you can let your career kind of evolve, but you gotta put yourself out there enough that maybe they'll consider you for things that you think aren't beneath your dignity, you know?
And now you're 70 and you have no
Right,
dignity.
it's too late.
It's
Exactly.
all right. The most misplaced, delusional dignity. What is your brand? Weighing high pitch Eric shit? What brand? What are you doing that's so what artistic, and especially now, right? It's not even a comedy show. What is this brand we're protecting? Who thinks more of you for turning that down? Name me one person.
That was my favorite part of the Pelican brief, is when he's telling them, we got to take down the pictures of like Jeff the drunk in the green room because it's scaring the celebrities. And I was like, the reason that Jeff the drunk is involved in your universe at all is because of you. You're the reason that this is happening.
Right, he can't take accountability for characters he create, like he greenlit.
Yeah. No one told him to do that.
Yep. You're so right. Great point. PCPO, this is great. Don Buchwald sent me a cease and desist letter for selling Stern shows on eBay.
Wow.
Back in 2004, and I ignored it. Good for you. I love that he ignored it. You should have wrote him back and said, "Fuck you, come after me, find me, motherfucker." That was when like you couldn't look people up on the internet. Like 04 was like a different internet in a way, right?
You could
like
still
you
be on,
you could really get away with a lot. It was a better time. Stern Fan Network was great in 04.
Right.
Yeah, Sabian's tall, Phony Feathers. Sabian's like 6'2" or something, and Howard's
he's
like
a big guy.
towering over him. He's definitely 6'8", Phony Feathers.
Act like a man! At heart, I'm really just a dumb disc jockey. Like, I don't even know how to elevate my career.
Oh, geez.
You know, it's like, get a fucking grip on life, dude. It ain't gonna make or break you. So, let's see.
It's all about the money.
Yeah.
So here's Don Buchwald's first appearance and longest appearance, and he's very boring, but I want to give you the insight as to what. So Howard, this is basically going to be, if Howard does a eulogy for him, he's going to copy and paste this, and I guarantee it, and say exactly what he says here. So this is Don Buchwald comes on the show in 2005, December, the day before they leave terrestrial radio, and he does this interview. 0605 Buchwald says goodbye to terrestrial. Here we go. So this is Don Buchwald coming in, and they're like, Jackie was on, ironically, just before Buchwald, and you know Jackie despises Buchwald because Jackie actually stood up to the Buchwald triumvirate and the whole, what'd you call it, almost like a pyramid scheme where they have all the people from the show getting 10% to Buchwald.
It's multi-level marketing. Yeah,
right. It's almost like an athlete. I like LeBron James a lot. I love his game. I think he's a good role model in many ways, but he is this clutch sports, and it's toxic to the NBA where he needs his guys and all, not just his son, but I'm talking about this clutch sports has to represent everyone that he's, you know, on, and so he's trying to like recruit, he's playing GM and coach and recruiting guys just so clutch sports can represent him. It's very similar to how Buchwald operates.
And we got to find Jackie. I think went on like Greg Fitzsimmons or something. And when Jackie was still, I think maybe doing Jackie's Joke Hunt or something, and was talking. He made that analogy of like it's like a baseball. It's like a sports agent having multiple guys on the same team. You know.
Yeah, he did say that. Yes.
And I remember Howard and Robin and everybody were just like trying to find a way to criticize that analogy.
Like it's
and
not a valid analogy.
Like it's not a valid thing.
Right.
Exactly. Right.
Sarah goes, his list of clients looked like a guest star credits on the Love.
It's so true.
It's really bad. She's so right. So this is Buchwald at the last day of Sirius. This is the still I used. I think it's perfect. And he's kind of hovering, lording over and go, I created all, like, look at him. He's looking down going, this is all mine.
Right.
Lording that stupid derby he wears all the time. Is that the name
Dick
of that
Tracy hat? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Dick Tracy. Let's leave it to the millennial to bring up a Dick Tracy reference. Jesus Christ, Davyd.
Crazy, you probably won't get to do a proper thank you.
Yes.
But this is my friend and my agent, Don Buchwald.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Hey.
Hey-o.
Oh, yeah. Dr. Doolittle, too, right? PCP. Howard, that went to Norm Macdonald, right? Am I to say?
Oh, yeah. The voice of like a bird or something. Yeah, right.
We, you know, that show, I'm very proud of it. The things that Howard claims he turned down or whatever, and Howard almost did it. he almost played the Dennis Miller role in Joe Dirt.
Oh.
That David Spade had offered it to. It's a radio guy, so David Spade had offered it to Howard, and then went to Dennis Miller after that.
Oh God! By the way, I love that commercial free is above Don's head. He's looking over it like, we'll see about that. We'll see
I deliberately chose these pictures to show that. That's exactly. That's a good catch. You think I just chose this at random?
No. I know you.
Of course not, John. Of course not.
Is that Joe Rogan or Greg Carmel in the bottom left with the backward fitted hat turned around?
Oh, good question.
He looks like a Rogan. If that's Greg Carmel, he looks like a Rogan doppelganger.
It's some Sirius XM Teamster. Yeah, who knows?
The great Don Buchwald.
There he is. Super agent.
Super agent. Uber agent, they call him sometimes. Uber agent.
Absolutely.
Well, that was a walk down memory lane with Jackie.
That was really something. It was seamless. It was yesterday.
Yeah.
And
You think Jackie had words with him? You think they actually spoke? I don't. I think
I don't either.
Put his head down and right past him.
And this was Jackie's first time back on the show since he left, too, right? It was like the goodbyes.
Say
right?
goodbye.
Okay.
Yep.
No.
He did the show on Sirius a lot. The first time Jackie had ever said the marble stuff, and I really realized about Buchwald, he did Jim Brewer had a show on Raw Dog. It was just like a 2-hour radio show, 2 years before Howard even got there. And Jackie did Brewer's show, and somehow somebody on the Stern Fan Network posted the interview, and it was so good. He was just going off on all this behind the scenes stuff, and that's when I first heard marbles. That was the first time I had heard him say, if you're playing marbles, there's 20 marbles. Howard wants 19 of them.
Right.
And he backpedaled on it, but that's a great quote. I mean, he means every word of it. Rick the Electrician says he's one of the last great agents who found a talent, developed him into a superstar. Don knew exactly how to play Howard. Howard will go into a deep depression now. He will, but he's 70 years old. With him, Ralph, and his dad. It's the only significant loss they come in threes, and hopefully this ends it. He fucking gets off the radio because boy, you talk about staying at the dance too long. You know when to get. Obviously, Buchwald doesn't believe in the core tenet in show business: know when to get off the fucking stage, because he tore that limb from limb years ago.
And that's an interesting point, because Don and Mel Karmazin, I think, are the two puppeteers of Howard, and the reason he's successful. And I think because Howard, at the end of the day, he's not a rebel; he's a company fucking man, Exactly. And I think that he is just. They saw probably like, oh, this guy is shameless in terms of like, he's a drowning man, and he needs to pull others into the conversation and make fun of them and just lash out at them, not because he's hateful, but because he's desperate for something to talk about. And that is in some ways kind of compelling, how jealous and petulant he is. And then you mix it in with the good comedy writing of Jackie or Billy West or Artie, and it's a weird alchemy that somehow makes like what was a really great show. But I think Don probably knew like Howard's not good for anything else. Like, we got to keep him in this place on the spider web, and he can go nowhere else if we're going to keep this going for as long as we can,
Yes, everyone, you heard petulant and alchemy used in the same sentence.
God.
Maze and an emphatic stroke of Byzantine whimsy.
Solomon Grundy, no legend of evil energy. It come from ancient monolith.
And the evil monolithic energy source that helped spawn him will give the Legion of...
It's the power source. A monolith of evil.
I love the spazzy trumpet solos over the word monolith, by the way.
I would love to hear you do a Super Friends musical
oh God,
score.
I would love that.
That's great.
So
you love it because that was 1979, 78 that came out.
Yeah,
Challenge of the Super Friends. One of the greatest Saturday morning maybe the greatest of all time. That one season, Challenge of the Super Friends with the Legion of Doom. And the episode title was called Monolith of Evil. That was the actual title. I'm fucking whatever I was, 5 years old, and I'm looking at the word monolith. Right?
Great
I mean,
word.
It's a great word. It's to teach kids. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Thank you, Tendrils. As a devotee of going and cleaning out, thank you, Tendrils. I appreciate that. I have so many things we never played. Bon will attest to that. So
Yes,
many
I
good
will.
clips. We're gonna have an actual cleaning out where I just play shit that I never got to, like scatologically, randomly, you know.
Very emotional, very important.
You know, Don, I don't even know what to say to you in terms of my career. But when I met Don Buchwald, it changed my life. More so than just about anybody in this world. I mean, I can think of...
Okay, I want you to listen. This is going to be his eulogy when he comes back, if he hasn't written it in dance papers already. But in whatever, after Labor Day. I hope he doesn't. I hope this makes him leave in the next contract. I bet it does.
Yeah.
If there's one thing, it's going to be him without him guiding him. I guarantee it.
Yes, that might be it. Yeah.
His daughter runs the LA division. Buchwald's daughter. And she's all over, her stamps all over the LA Sirius with Ross Zapin and shit. It's all a big fucking cronyism.
Yeah.
Howard said he was on PCP. Howard was offered $1 million cigarette commercial in Japan.
I remember he said that.
A few people. Of course, Robin, when I first met her, and Fred, and all the guys.
Chief Phony Feathers. That's such a great nerd. Oh, God. GoBots is like we call McDowell's. You know, quite frankly,
Transformers,
right? So GoBots is Transformers, Hydrox and fucking Oreos and stuff.
Yeah, right. Mr. Pibb and Dr. Pepper.
The Chief Phony Feathers, GoBots, and that's a great reference.
Individual stories about each person, but you, wow, you are my rock. You are the guy I can turn to in my personal life and my professional life, and you have helped me every step.
That's more embarrassing than Gary's apology tape to his fucking girlfriend in the late '80s.
Yeah,
he just said professional life and personal, right out of Gary's apology tape. Ida Greenbacks, great line. Buchwald, you can't take it with you. That's the good news. That's a great line, Ida. Good stuff. Proud of you, Ida.
Life and my professional life, and you have helped me every step of the way.
Wow, it's very nice to hear you say that.
In some of my toughest times, you've been there for me, and one of my toughest times professionally.
All his toughest times include money. It's not about. He loved the Allison divorce. That's not a tough time. He loved it. He facilitated.
It was pay dirt.
It's all about his tough times. Are all revolve around marbles.
You've been there for me, and one of my toughest times professionally is when I was at NBC and I was getting the crap beat out of me, and I remember I interviewed a bunch of different agents.
Oh, yeah, I remember you going through this whole thing. I was like, man, he's seeing everybody in town.
Well, I didn't know agents. I didn't know from that. And obviously, because if you saw my contract with NBC, you would have said...
You would have said, you don't know any agents.
Johnny Meyer is a great point. Do you think he asked for points of the great? Does he have that much to lose to hubris that he asked for points in addition to like residuals, like crazy residuals?
Well, part of it too is like I could definitely see that, but also because Howard wants to feel like a show business insider. Like, I know what points are, so we should ask for that. You know,
he would say to them, "Oh, I'll get my entire audience to see that. Like, they needed the help of the Stern audience, and you'll give me points. I guarantee." And then he lied about the listeners, as he always did in the Sirius years. He would never tell you the numbers.
You know, and it's funny, right? Like Transformers needs help from the Stern Show promoting the movie.
Yep. I can't think of the last movie that got a bump from the last time I listened to him was a movie called Spread with Ashton Kutcher and Anne Heche, where basically Ashton Kutcher played Ralph Cirilla, couch surfing, this grifter in LA, where you don't know what he does, and he's sort of like a mimbo, and he would just go from. And Anne Heche was like his older, you know, almost like playing Demi Moore in a way. And I actually watched. It was okay.
I remember years ago, Benjamin made a comment about how if, you know, you wonder like how the fuck is Howard getting Scarlett Johansson and all these people? And one thing he said was, if you notice what movie they're promoting, it's like one of their worst piece of shit movies that they have no hope of like getting anyone to go see. So they think, all right, let's just go on Stern and see if that does anything for us.
Yeah, that was always the way, right? It would be something that we have no prayer of. I remember they got Depp to do Stern in October of 2001, October 17th, 2001, because he was promoting From Hell, because they were afraid of 9/11 would just keep people out of the theater. And that's how Depp did the Stern Show. The Hughes brothers, the twin black directors who directed, Dead Presidents and
to motivate New Yorkers to go see the Depp movie, right?
Do you?
Yeah, I mean, you are to me what I am to Sal. You know what I mean? So I remember I sat down with Don, and I talked to a lot of different agents.
Sunflower agreed.
And Don sat me down. He says, "Listen, I'm not giving you hype. I think you can be as important as Johnny Carson, and I think you can make some money here. I think you."
Phony Feathers Dice has a way better acting career than Howard does.
Oh yeah,
he's done some good. He was in Private Resort, for Christ's sake. It doesn't get any better than that. He's with Depp and Rob Morrow and Leslie Easterbrook and Hector Elizondo and 1985's Private. It doesn't get any better than that.
He's had a better movie career than Howard by merely having more than one on his IMDb.
Yes.
Could have a very important career.
I think I said you can make some money.
By the way, did Benjamin coin Chief Phony Feathers? Was it a Benjamin line?
I've heard him, I think he did, yeah. That and I remember he also coined the every week as Thanksgiving break. I remember he said that.
Yes, he did. That was a great line. Let's get Benjamin on here because I call you baby. I call you baby Benjamin. And,
yes, I would
to hear
love
you
that.
two on the same. See if people can tell your voices apart.
Yeah.
Just to hear
Oh,
them.
they would.
Like Ben Affleck and Jax from Vanderpump Rules.
Right.
Then you can be as important as Johnny Carson.
Well, I don't know how you say. You even quoted me a figure, and I went, man, this guy believes in me more than I believe in myself.
Right? Yeah.
And I went home and I discussed it with my dad, and I actually went to my father's house.
Because you had some other very big name agents at the time.
Buchwald initially wanted to be an actor. He went to the same college my father did. He's about 5 years older than my dad. And they're both, my dad's from Upper East Side Manhattan, where the mayor's mansion is now, but it was way different then. As a Polak, his dad was a superintendent of the building. And it was like York, First Avenue in the 60s somewhere where he lived. And they went to the same school together. I think my dad missed him by a couple of years. Yeah. And he wanted to be an actor, Buchwald, initially. And his first gig was representing voiceover people. He must have known Ben Stern, right? From the fucking Underdog days and stuff.
Yeah, that's
right?
very
Tuxedo,
possible.
He must have.
That you were considering.
It's true. But Don, I had an instant connection with him. And the day I got fired for NBC, Don came walking in, and I was at a low point, and he opened up a bottle of champagne. He says to me, "This is the best thing that's ever gone."
What's with Jews and champagne? Right? Jews and champagne. He comes in, his shtick is he comes in with the derby, whatever that dumb hat is.
Yeah.
Fedora. And every time he thinks there's a deal, he walks in with champagne. I don't know. What's with the champers, by the way? What is that?
Oh, that's a British. I only know that from Absolutely Fabulous. They would say champers.
Remember Depp talking to the text with Paul Bettany?
Yeah.
I got champers, man. I got MDMA. I'm fucking champers on a goddamn plane in Boston. That's how I knew what champers was.
Right.
Dr. Doolittle, I think the first one, and then Dr. Doolittle 2, or Joolittle, as Davyd said before we went on, went to Norm Macdonald, I think the second one, right? And then Howard claims he was offered that.
I think that's right. By the way, Buchwald and Associates represented the actor Len Cariou, who originated the role of Sweeney Todd on Broadway.
Can I tell you my favorite Len Cariou story real briefly? Nobody knows more about Sweeney Todd than you, Davyd. You have to be the foremost historian and expert and I mean, even I think it's so underrated, our Sweeney Todd watch along.
That was fun
on Patreon. That was a lot of fun. We got to do a full movie again. I can't believe, I mean, you know everything about all things Sondheim and Sweeney Todd.
By the way, I texted. Speaking of doing a watch along, I told you I watched the trailer for Arizona Dream, and it's fucking trippy. God, I'm
It's
curious
not good.
to see it.
It's not good. Don't
okay,
get fooled by. Don't get fooled by the Emir Costa Rica trailer. It's really slow. It's one of the worst It's a weird time too because in between Scissorhands and Benny and June, he did nothing. He just was kind of tooling around LA looking for stuff, and he did the Tom Petty video, which is all the cast of Arizona Dream is in Tom Petty's Into the Great Wide Open. And it's a weird bridge movie in between this dead time. It's almost like when grunge hit the hardest is when he did this Arizona Dream. And it's a weird, the cast is more interesting than the actual movie. Johnny Meyer reminds me of the Vincent Gallo character in that movie, as a matter of fact. Buchwald, Brendan says, Buchwald's fedoras always look so embarrassing.
Yeah.
Only the slickster, there's a wrestling reference, Jesus Christ, can pull off that look, Don. Good line, Brendan.
Happy to you.
You know what? I was going to say that was my first impression of him. I had never met him. We had just been fired. You walked into your office at NBC, closed the door, and called him.
Right.
And he came in. He was wearing a black fedora, and he had his overcoat draped over his shoulder.
Judy Wright is a Deppening listener who is could care less about Howard. Good to see you, Judy. She goes, I can't stand Howard or Robin, and she rightfully spelt Robin's name wrong. Good for you, Judy.
Thanks for dropping by, Judy.
Welcome to the Lotus Notes family. Right?
Yes. She's the opposite of Johnny Bye-Bye, who is a Depp contrarian and hates his guts. She defends everything. She defends Willie Rose dating a 24-year-old at 14, living with her dad in Eastern Columbia building. She'll defend Beachy Coldclea and Roman Polanski.
Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt.
Like Zorro.
All right, he wasn't a great dresser. Is that what you're saying?
And he swept in
like
with
Zorro.
this magnum of champagne, singing "Happy Days Are Here Again."
Yeah.
Well, I always carry a magnum of champagne.
That's your MO.
Sunflower's favorite book is The Petulant Alchemist. Davyd, you get that one? They're going to turn that into a movie, an animated series.
Right. Write the most
Another
esoteric
great
score
line.
for it. Yeah.
No, look at Sunflower on a roll tonight.
You know, but
So when John Hayes, the guy who had just fired us, walked in to see you, we were drinking champagne. We weren't crying.
well, I was nervous after that, and I used to call Don and go, Don, I have a job to do. He said, slow down. A lot of people want you. You just got to take it easy. And he started to teach me about business and how to conduct myself in a certain way. Showed me a path to think about myself differently. And I started to learn a lot from this man. And for those who are fans of this show, more so than anybody that I can think of, the reason this show is on the air and the reason for the success of this show is that guy sitting right on the couch, Don Buchwald.
Well,
and it's the truth.
There you go.
And you talk about.
I asked Casey Armstrong in a text where Buchwald was his time on the show. Like, was he hovering and stuff? And he said that I think he said you could hear like a lot of fights with executives at CBS and him trying to kind of dictate where it was going to go, and they had to run everything by him. It was a real pain in the ass. Like he was never represented by Buchwald. Casey wasn't.
Right.
I wonder if he was on his way to, if he had stayed with the show.
Yeah, and also when Howard says I credit Don with the success of the show, what he means is with my bank account, not anyone else.
And right, and nothing else.
And when Howard comes back from vacation, this speech we just listened to that he made, he'll do it almost verbatim again about Don. He'll do a big 30-minute eulogy. It'll be all boring.
Right on. And this notion, this bullshit about like this vacation curse. The guy's on vacation 290 days
There's
a year.
no more curse.
It would be better if he died when he was on. He's of course someone's gonna die. He's on vacation 80% of the year. Vacation curse. Stop saying that. You got to put a moratorium on saying that.
You hear people on the Academy Awards, they think they're their agent. You go, what are they insane? But I really do want to thank you.
Welcome, Josh Foster. Gravesend. I have not seen that. I know that's in Brooklyn. I was in Park Slope. It was way away from Brooklyn's a weird borough. It's so confusing. So Gravesend's like closer to, I think it's close to Bensonhurst, I want to say. So yeah, I checked it. I didn't know Dice was in that. Dice is from that Is he from Benson or Gravesend? As a matter of fact.
For everything you've done for me, and you are so special and dear to me, and everything you do for me is greatly appreciated.
G Canada's such a knuckle. Look at him. He's such a knucklehead. Who the fuck except Arm would know Hector Alexando is, and worse, what movie he was in. I love that he butchered Hector Elizondo's name.
Honestly.
And that's so G Canada. He's such a dick. He's our dick, though. He's a funny
Exactly.
dude.
I'll defend him to the hilt.
John, you know that Dice was in A Star Is Born.
Yeah. Yes.
And he was very good in that. It wasn't a
Yep.
comedy role; it was just dramatic, and he was very good. So it's amazing. He keeps on kicking on after
Dice
so
wanted
much
to be an actor
stuff.
before he wanted to be a comedian. I think like Joan Rivers did. Like I don't think Dice wanted to be a comedian. I'm almost positive his first goal was to be an actor. Sunflower says he weirded us as an audience in negotiations, but then shit on us with the show they produced for us. Yes, especially in my day. As soon as they got to Sirius, he would chipping away at anything you liked about it. And he got your money and he got your bonuses, which is kind of the theme we have here. But Buchwald kind of cockblocked us today. Richard Lewis, the fake 2 glasses of champagne. That's good tendrils. That's a great one of Howard's interviews was Richard Lewis, the champagne drunk, who also passed away recently. Johnny Meyer's Arizona Dream is a mess. He's absolutely right. It is a mess. And I remember, Johnny, they were editing that forever. First it was called Arrowtooth Waltz, and they changed the title, and it never came out, and they reworked it. And just because Emir Costa Rica is from Argentina, you think it's artistic, and it's not. It's fake. It's a scatological mess. He's absolutely right. KC was only making 21 grand a year. Don wouldn't represent him. That's right, PCPO.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, obviously, the feeling is mutual. You and I have laid the compliments on each other over the course of time. It's been a tremendous experience, a very exciting time. And we all together, this entire group of people, have, I feel, pioneered our way in the radio industry and the television industry, and now we're going to move on again elsewhere. But it's been a very
G Canada, Howard's making, I'll tell you exactly what he's making here. At the last days of terrestrial, he was making $40 million a year. He's making more than double what you say. But that's a good guess. He was very closed out, but I found out he was making $40 million a year. That was Jackie's argument with the markets. Remember when Jackie said, I want just this, he syndicated and this is what he gets, and Jackie knew what he got. And eventually when it ended in 2005, he was making about $40 million a year.
exhilarating time for me, and most importantly, without being too maudlin, the relationship that you and I.
Yes, he played Larry the Loser, Autobot Dice on Different Strokes. Was that Larry the Loser? Remember the
I
Gooch?
think so.
The bully in Different Strokes, the fucking Gooch.
Vaguely.
I still want to take him down.
Do have, which is very important and very dear and very special.
We've had some fun, right, my friend?
We've had a lot of fun, and we've done some good things.
Nice did do a Woody Allen film, Johnny.
Yeah, Blue Jasmine with
Blue Jasmine.
Kate
Baldwin was
Blanchett.
Yep.
And
Now you're not crying, are you?
no, well, I'm.
He's trying
there's a kind of choke in my throat, but no, not real tears. But
sit one step closer to Fred, you'll be crying. That's right.
Now, being in here during the commercials and hearing you talk, Howard, you could tell the one person you trust more than anyone is Don. I hear the way you talk.
I trust Don with everything.
I know. You can tell that.
Artie was represented by the way, Howard is the only guy that Buchwald personally represented.
Right.
So he had his little agents representing everybody else. He would not go to bat for anybody. Fred and Robin are under that umbrella, so they came packaged together and shit. So Robin is making initially with Sirius, I thought I had her at $12 million a year.
Yeah.
Highest paid newswoman, for that. And then Fred's getting about $5 for that job he does.
That's
and
great.
we heard Tracy Millman, right? Tracy Millman said, I want to be Fred. He's the easiest job. And that's how you know. You know she knows to be an office manager. You know who she knows has the easiest job. You know she has her shit together on that.
Totally, yeah. It's the Colin Quinn joke. Don Buchwald, agent to the star.
Yes, yes.
Oh yeah.
Don Buchwald, the agent to the star. Benjamin, Autobot. Welcome, Benjamin. I would wrap this up. Then I'm going to go to him with the champagne.
I really do. I've never had anyone have my back like Don has my back. And I shouldn't say never anyone. I mean, there's a couple of people sitting right in this room who's always had my back. But
Tamara, he really does sound. Have you ever heard a worse radio voice than Buchwald? He's
so
boring and monotone.
Lethargic.
What the? And you'd think a guy would want to. Let me punch this up. Let me show some energy and some. I'll be animated, and I'll be. Nope. He's just gonna see. He's got no immediacy whatsoever. He is
Also, like, you know, what a horrible promotion for him as an agent. Like, this is who's going to be fighting for my money on a film with all these, like, you know, shark studio executives.
I thought the same thing. Like, that voice in negotiations. Would you back down to that?
Yeah.
Like, that's what he's coming at you with.
Can you imagine Don Buchwald talking to Michael Bay like, "This is insulting"?
I don't want my guy doing a robot voice. I just don't want to do it. He doesn't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't get it. I don't want him doing it. And then Bay's like,
you really look out for me, and you look out for the show.
I was going to say, we don't mind because Don has all of our back.
He doesn't look out for the show. He looks out for your fucking wallet.
Account.
It's the worst thing for the fans. I cannot emphasize that enough.
He does.
Yeah, well,
he's one of the unsung heroes. He doesn't get a lot of the credit, but he masterminded a lot of the syndication, spreading throughout the country, TV deals, making sure that
That's right.
our show kept growing.
Yeah, and get the respect it deserves.
And even this is a sad part leaving here, but Don said to me, we're not growing here.
You guys remember Casual Sex with Leah Thompson and Victoria Jackson? That's a good call, Autobot.
That's obscure.
Yeah,
Wow.
Like back then, you knew every movie that came out because it was just less to do. Like you go to the video store.
Well, and there's less movies, less access to make content. So, by the way, I just picture, like, as Howard saying, like, you know, Don really helped the show grow. Like, meanwhile, Mike Ganji is pacing outside with the same salary he's had since 1992.
Yeah.
Well, he, you know, Ganji was, you know, obviously he was in it, and then they hired him on the E! Show.
Right.
So I don't know, and then he transitioned to Howard TV.
Right.
Ganji's an interesting case on that show. I actually like Ganji.
I do too. Yeah, I never
like a thing going on. I don't know what it was. I loved her in the Wildlife.
I liked him better than Grillo.
I did too. Grillo's a really good guy, though. I mean, I knew him through Monique a little bit, and he was as nice a guy as you could possibly be. I don't know if he was humbled by life or whatever, but he was super nice guy. And self-deprecating and shit, and just I really grew to like him the couple times I met him.
And it's time to move on, and we have to go either reinvent the show, and you know, it just was impossible here to keep doing what it is I do.
It was funny,
and yet we have talked about how important here has been,
absolutely,
and how cherished every year and every moment, and all the people, the
Johnny, Holly Robinson was in Howard the Duck. Did you know that? I didn't. I looked that up. Let's create. Howard the Duck is a Marvel Comics property. A lot of people don't realize. And they tried like their hand at, like, you know, to try to do like a comedy sort of cartoon character. And yeah, Howard the Duck was I guess it was like 89 that came out. And
hey, John and Sarah, it's Holly Robinson Pete. How you doing?
Oh my God, I love her.
It came out in 86.
For anyone, at the uninitiated, Davyd bought Sarah and I a cameo. It was one of the nicest things I've ever had in my entire life. I would maybe Vina, and boy, I cherished that thing. And that was Holly Robinson Pete, Christmas time with the Peets, with the Robinson Peets, and that was from Cameo. And I have it as a drop, and I will always have it as a drop.
David, question: when you purchase that cameo, is there an option, like I don't know, $10 extra for her to drop the hyphenation and just say Holly Robinson? Because I
make it
can
like she's
imagine most
available.
people don't want the Pete at the end.
Yes.
It's really not necessary.
She's not available. She's not available. I don't have a shot anymore.
Look, I'll drop the additional name for $15 extra. Yes, I will.
Call yourself Judy Hoffs for an extra $20. All right.
Davyd cleverly worked in our idea that the reboot of Jump Street, she plays the captain.
Right.
And then my idea was also to have Depp in like a cameo form, like he would be like a consultant and he would come in the finale and he would do like one thing, like he would never commit to a full season, even though it would be
right.
And I had another weird idea that Lily Rose and Jack play the undercover cops in the high school.
they're the McQuaid twins or something.
Yeah,
right.
that's great. The one like the boy and girl McQuaid. That's brilliant, Davyd. Oh, I got to throw that by Patrick Hasberg on Facebook.
Yeah,
I'm doing it.
Even though they're a couple years. I mean, how much? What is their age difference? Lily Rose.
Lily's 25 and Jack is 21.
All right, so they could be. You could convince them that they're like fraternal twins.
Depp was 25.
Yeah.
Lily is Depp's age in season 2, going into season 3, and Jack is the age Peter DeLuise when the show started.
Well, the problem is if they couldn't get Depp to do even a cameo in the reboot movies, like not a chance of him ever being involved.
But he did do a cameo in the reboot.
Wait, did he?
Yeah, you crazy? It was brilliant. It was great.
Oh, I didn't see. I don't
Oh, you got to watch it.
Jump
Street movies are great. They're really good. I was really impressed.
How long? Wait, okay. Then how long was he in it? I'm so shocked that he did it.
It's a pretty extensive cameo. He's actually in the whole thing, but he's playing a biker in complete disguise. So he's cruising around with this like Hell's Angels group, him and DeLuise, and you can't see them. And so
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for my ignorance. It's never more annoying when somebody.
I watch it. How about you watch it with us on Patreon?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be great. I would love for you to do that.
I'm shocked though that Depp did it. I thought they must have given him a good amount of money to do it because I thought he
supposedly he didn't make much. Supposedly he didn't get much for that. So I hear.
Wow.
We read the contract, and it's such a good cameo. He's so good in this. It's the theater I was in exploded when he revealed himself. Exploded. It was almost
that's so great. See, he hasn't lost it yet, you know.
No,
like
that's 10 years
you would
ago.
talk about Howard though, never do a thing for the fans. Look at this. This is Depp doing. Yeah, even though it's 10 years ago, he still did it just for the fans. He didn't do it for any sort of acting interest. That's great. I'm really happy about that.
The only thing of recent memory that felt like that applause from the audience is when Captain America lifted Thor's hammer in Avengers Endgame. Like, because I had predicted he was going to do it. So you see the hammer lift up and they reveal that it's Cap after he throws it at Thanos, and the place went crazy. That's the thing.
How about that? Captain Jack Sparrow is in the house. Johnny Depp in attendance today here in Arizona.
Amazingly tough task that Tom Chiasano has had over the course of years, and how he has made our lives easier, and that Infinity has their own agenda as well. They should, and they're going to go on and be very successful, and that's important to us too.
You know, he's talked me down a couple of times over the last few weeks.
Yeah, we can get ourselves worked up.
We can get a little ahead of ourselves.
Right. No, Don keeps me pretty level-headed, and you're right. The reason that it's so important tomorrow, our final show, we've made history here, not only as a show, but with this company. And there's a lot of history here.
This couldn't have happened without this company.
Without this company and without Don Buchwald. And I thank you. And tomorrow I will certainly mention you in my speech when I'm out in front of the fans, but this is...
We played that last week. Johnny Troiano, welcome. We brought up Private Resort before. I don't know if you're just checking in. We brought up. Of course we did. Of course we did. So yeah, Howard brought Buchwald up in his fucking speech and the birthday bash, which we should do on the Patreon. That would be good for Patreon to go over the birthday bash again.
Definitely.
Like, take out.
Yeah,
the
birthday bash. Yeah, it's absolutely classic.
Thanks to I could have. Boff gave me the full was it 4.5 hour HT HD version video.
Yeah.
It's not. There's great things to pick out, especially the luminaries in the crowd. So you see like Dolan, the Knicks owner. You'll see all his Hamptons cronies. You'll see Harvey Weinstein. He spends a great deal talking about his friend Harvey,
Right.
who was very instrumental into getting the Stern Girls into all these movie premieres back in the late '90s. By the way, very big friend. Yeah, that's I gotta find that.
Better moment to let people know how important you are to the show.
Well, thanks for acknowledging me again, and I feel good being part of the entire system, and it's been great, and I want to say goodbye on air to you and to to the fans out there. I hope.
Nice humble brag, Buchwald. Thank you, Mr. D. Thank you, Mr. D.
They'll come with us and join us, and the future is before us. I think it'll be as exciting and more exciting than the past has been.
And by the way, Don is also one of these people who's taught me a little bit about having some fun. Took me to New Orleans, and we had oysters, and we drank beer, and I...
Meanwhile, I'm doing the keynote speech at the Essence Festival. I don't want to hear it. I'm New Orleans. Right? Arm does love the brown sugar, Melvin. You're right.
Don taught me how to drink lukewarm water as opposed to just boiling water.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's also a weight. Did you know that the hot water and lemon thing is a weight suppressant?
Oh,
It's
I didn't
not
know
the
that.
voice. I looked it up, and it's a weight thing. That anorexic, he thinks that's gonna. Oh my! He's such a broad. He is such a homo. That he's hot water and lemon is a weight suppressant. It's not
The acid.
his
Yeah,
voice.
right.
You really think he gives a shit about his voice? He's got the Darth Kermit modulator. It's all about the hair. He thinks he's a goddamn movie star.
Well, also, like the voice, like it's not about the voice because Howard is constantly gulping as he talks. Like, if you ever see him on Letterman, where he's like, you see him swallowing because I think he's trying to create like an air bubble in his throat to make it sound lower.
He doesn't have the modulator.
Conspiracy
That's
theories. Yes.
We're always right. We're always right. How much would I pay for a Depp cameo, Johnny? God, I think I would pay to let me pick his own script. And I got a story about that on the next Deppening. I'm talking to none other than Ronnie Seabach himself, Josh Richmond, who is a Guns N' Roses producer on Instagram. And he actually threw by him, or so he claims, my idea for the Pistol Pete movie that Brad Furman wants to do. The Depp plays his father, which I'm not gonna get, I'm gonna kind of choose my battles with it.
Right.
This is how
really good.
I'm sorry, I'm not in Paramount, Davyd. This is how I network on Instagram. I'm sorry, I'm not a slave to the man. I'm not a Paramount crony. But I thank you for the subscription.
Yes, of course.
I think Deadpool and Wolverine will eclipse that Captain America moment with, there's a lot of, I can't wait for that. There's going to be a lot of weird shit going on. And I think I heard that Cap is a cameo in that. I thought I heard that.
You know me, I was always all business, and he would say, you got to lighten up a little bit.
Crazy Robin. Welcome, Crazy Robin. Everyone's black friend. Everyone's favorite black friend. So she calls herself. Now the chat has just
I like the black community. We've gotten a lot of good things from them.
Evil Dave. Look at you, Bon. That is a great Evil Dave.
I love that segment. Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing.
That's where self-estitle comes from.
Self-estitle, right?
Oh, yeah.
Low self-estitle.
He's got that too. Look at you, Bon. That's so. That just hearing that makes it all worth it doing this show.
It does.
Falcon, the winged black superhero.
John, you use the N-word a lot.
Nice.
You got to enjoy the success. That's the reward. Beyond whatever material compensation you get, you got to feel good about yourself and what you're doing, and enjoy the process.
A lot of times young people will say, well, how do you do whatever it is you do, or how do you get to do it? And the one thing, and I've never seen anybody like Don who loves what they do as much as he does.
Tendrils, I'm gonna just show up at Paramount unannounced
Oh.
when Davyd's there, and I am gonna raise holy hell about my discovery. Holy hell! He's gonna let me in. The gates. They're gonna have my face on the gate. Like, who is it? Dan Schneider. All right, Dan Schneider would have people's faces on the gate, right, Davyd? When they would come in, they
like photos of them. Don't let them in.
Photos
right.
of them for the guard check.
Who do you love more, me or your beautiful wife, Maggie?
Well,
make a choice. Yeah, this is Sophie's choice right now.
I gotta go with Maggie. I mean, she's probably listening in.
It's too bad.
But you know the.
Okay, here's Don. Years later, he comes in with the single worst thing to ever happen to the Howard Stern show and Howard's once great legacy. He accepts a contract to America's Got Talent. And this is Don Buchwald on video. This is the only video of him. So the last one was the first audio from 2005. This is Don Buchwald on video with a bottle of champagne and an America's Got Talent contract.
This is truly the beginning of the end.
What, Davyd?
Yeah.
This is truly the beginning of the end.
Well said. Couldn't agree more.
My agent is here. Don Buchwald, your agent is here. Fred's agent is here.
What is he doing here today?
I don't know exactly, but I think I have an idea.
Yeah?
Yeah. This is my agent, Don Buchwald, the man who changed my life.
And he's got a...
Brendan just read on Variety that the Pistol Pete movie has been greenlit. It's a go.
Oh, good.
Thanks to me. I'll take full credit for it and producer credit. Depp would play Pistol Pete's father is my idea. Yeah. I'm going to cast who plays Maravich. You can't. My idea with sport, especially basketball, you have to get, in order to do it right, basketball is really tough to do on film. You have to get a basketball player and turn him into an actor because it's way harder to make an actor play basketball. You know how many hours I've spent honing my craft on the court? I would say 10 times what an actor does, maybe 20 times. So it was way easier to make a basketball player act than it is an actor play basketball and look convincing that they can play on that level. That's how I'm doing it.
Get the Space Jam people to break in another one. Yeah.
Yep. Ray Allen and He Got Game.
Yeah.
Denzel Washington's not a good basketball player. I can tell in 2 seconds he can't play. And they had made him look like he could be on par with Ray Allen, which is ridiculous.
Right. Bottle of champagne.
He has a bottle of champagne, and this guy loves champagne.
He must be celebrating something.
What could it be, Robin? What could it be?
He's got an envelope in his hand.
Wait a second. Don, describe how long we've known each other.
For all you booze hounds, champagne's a pretty good. If you don't want to get drunk, I could probably drink like 10 bottles of champagne. Yeah. Mariah Carey is obsessed with champagne to give you some idea about what. And it's great to you ever have it like you could mix it with like Diet Sprite or Diet Mountain Dew. And it's like a shandy. You ever hear what a shandy is? It's beer,
yes. Oh, it's big
ice.
here.
Yep.
Shandy's huge here.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
We've known each other since 1984.
This is the man. I walked into his office. I had met with several. I never had an agent in my life. And I walked into his office, and he was the only one who actually paid attention to me out of all the agents I interviewed.
I wasn't doing anything else.
Look at this colossal waste of space. While, the Opie and Anthony show are broadcasting from a NyQuil cup down the hall. Look at this shit. What a waste. and used 1/4 of the year. Look at this shit.
At least the K-Rock studio they decorated it cool, and it was
had
the OG
character.
Mask. Right.
Oh, I got to see that, Frank. The Iron Claw. I still haven't seen it. The Von Erich movie. I knew them when I was a little kid. I remember Kerry, David, Fritz, Mike. They were on World Class Wrestling, and that was on the early days of ESPN when ESPN couldn't get the big 3 licenses.
It was amazing.
He had some free time.
I got to tell you why I love Don. I mean, I love Don because for about 10 million different reasons. Don Buchwald is an amazing.
Yeah, Crazy Robin's right on the money. This is a staged contract signing. This shit's been done probably months ago. He's coming in here like this is used to promote America's Got Talent. Don't be fooled by he doesn't need, this is now for like Davyd said, the beginning of the end, every day beating you to death with America's Got Talent. and it is an infomercial. And I believe that he got that deal with the devil because he agreed that he told them he's going to turn that show into an infomercial, which he did.
Yeah. Don might as well have walked in with like an oversized novelty check for Howard. Like it's so fake, this whole fucking thing.
With the scissor and everything. This is the Gong Show.
Yeah, cutting a rope.
The comedian Joe Matarese said he did it, and he said it was fake. He said they had the winners pre-casted. Like there was no sense of comp. They didn't listen to what the fans did. It's absolutely as fake as world-class wrestling.
Yeah.
Amazing man.
Thank you.
And I hope that everyone in life has as good a friend and business person in their life as honest and as trustworthy and as beautiful as Don Buchwald. So I've never said that on the air, I don't think.
Back at
trustworthy to you and no one else. Nobody else shares that, especially Stuttering John and Jackie.
Yeah. I don't know how you feel. Robin has horrible things to say.
You hear what Bond said? He said, what a time killer this is. He couldn't be more. I was thinking about this too when I was making this. Think about the deal with the double dipping dipshit deal with the devil Howard has. He's getting paid $4,000 a minute to brag about a contract he's signing for another show in which he's getting $20 million a year. So he's getting paid to promote and brag about another contract he's signing on the air as material. That's what you're saying.
Crazy.
Right,
yeah, and he thinks
this
that we're going to enjoy hearing it. And this guy's, Buchwald's so boring.
Like we're getting a cut. We're getting a cut from. So look at Robin and Fred fawning over this.
Oh,
They're
look
not
at Robin
getting anything.
there.
She's not on the show. She's not getting anything for it. She's acting like she's signed the contract. She has nothing to do with it. So they're fawning over this. They're such lapdog pieces of shit.
I never say anything.
And Fred doesn't say a word about you. But
no, Ottawa. Pete Davidson actually can play basketball. I think he played high school basketball in Staten Island. I'm not casting him as Maravich, but he can play.
Her mailbox is always full, so I can't respond.
But you didn't have to present me with champagne, but thank you.
Well, I mean, it's Christmas time.
You know, the last time you brought me champagne, I just got fired from NBC.
Right, so what does this mean?
Right.
Interesting
We've
you
got
said
some
that.
boxes for you.
Because this is about 25 years later, and I want to tell you, they've agreed that they made a mistake.
Now, you're holding an envelope.
Canada, badasses all drink champagne. I'm no better than Richard Lewis with that comment. He's right.
By the way, can you imagine if Howard went on AGT and started like reviewing his Sirius contract like at his fucking seat next to Sharon Osbourne?
That's so funny. And he goes on stage and does it as an act.
Right,
Starts
exactly.
reviewing that's the material. That's so funny. And I mean, every one of the other judges is just like, we had to uproot our show to New York. We're all in LA for this guy, and he's not even bringing it. And he's the biggest diva pain in the ass. We have to we have to act like we're distant. He thinks I mean, they hated him. Every single judge hated his guts.
What is that?
What is this?
They are now hiring you.
Oh.
And these are the contracts.
Yes. What would they be hiring me for at NBC?
Could you guess?
Janitor?
NBC?
NBC.
Am I going back to terrestrial radio?
NBCU.
Didn't know they sell all their radio stations?
I don't know.
NBCU, yes.
Yeah.
They've admitted their mistakes.
They've admitted their mistakes. That's the joke.
Right.
But they're hanging you
show is
in
on
the
NBC?
world.
Do you know what show that is?
SVU?
Television.
Do I have to say WNBC again?
You could try it. It might work.
Right. Don, what is your announcement? What is this, really?
So,
You are not allowed to speak ill about Denzel Washington in any way, shape, or form. I'm the head of the NAACP. Tamara, I'll do whatever I want to Denzel. I'll do whatever I want.
you don't really know what's going on because we didn't put the fine points on it.
Right.
However, I've been up all night. We've been...
Sure you have, Don. Crazy Robin's on to you. Sure you've been up all night. Sure you have. You and Rhonda Shear and Gilbert Gottfried on the USA.
Right.
Finishing our negotiations, which has been going on for the last millennium.
Yes.
And these are the signage papers of the agreement which has been agreed to between Howard Stern's company, Ms. Agent.
Say the name of the company, Don. Say the name of the company. Jews and contracts, you know.
For Howard Stern.
And who's he agreeing with?
Yeah, make the announcement. What,
Robin, you are way too excited about a show you're not going to be on with a contract.
She's
you're not
cranking
Look at
it
her.
out, man.
What
Really.
is wrong with her? You're not on the show. You're not getting this money. You're not.
It's just total suck up, and Fred not on the mic at all.
Fred
Good
gets
work.
excited too.
Yes,
She's playing football. I'm going to let you announce it.
Okay.
And NBCU.
Well, Robin.
NBCU, is that a university?
Yeah, NBCU. All right, I will make the announcement.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Don.
Oh, well, why don't you execute?
Let me sign.
Who are we executing? You need to sign first.
That movie Training Day, Frank the Tank, was stolen from a 21 Jump Street episode called Besieged, where Penhall and Hansen ride with Officer Adabo, and he teaches them the crooked ways of the crooked cops. It's exactly the same thing. I want you to watch 21. Did you review that with us, Davyd? And
I don't think I was on that one.
Where Penhall, a cop kills a guy off a roof, and Penhall rats him out, and he was like Officer Jimmy Adabo. And basically, it's Training Day. He takes Penhall and Hansen around and shows them the ways of how to get things done in the hood by being crooked cops.
Right.
And it's exactly like Training Day. It's called Besieged. Ronnie Seabach, who I just, Josh Richmond is in that. Great 2-part episode.
Interesting.
Execute.
Before you say anything.
Execute Benji.
Like Ethan Hawke is basically Depp and DeLuise, and to Adabo's Denzel Washington.
Right.
I agree to that.
Now, where do I sign?
There are 4 X's.
Right here. I will sign here.
Make your mark.
Twice on that page.
Wonder what I'm agreeing to.
Don't worry.
I'm sure I'm agreeing.
Crazy Robin is. Are we supposed to believe this bullshit that he's signing this here? Crazy Robin's so right.
Yeah, he's signing tissue paper right now, I'm sure.
Misery.
I think that you're just signing yourself into slavery.
You've already told me I was honest and trustworthy. Not to
Just don't look at a thing.
Am I the new host of the Tonight Show? Is that what you're here to promise? All right.
Great reference, Crazy Robin. That's down the road. Yeah, Judd Apatow, he has not been on the show since, by the way. Hated America's Got Talent and tweeted about it and started this whole thing.
Right.
He has not been on the show since. He's a major director.
Look at them blurring out that contract, by the way.
Good catch, Davyd. Look at that.
Good job, Scott DePace.
I'll sign here.
That's 3.
That's 3. And
one more.
This is very historic, Robin, as I sign.
Yeah, going back to NBC would be historic under any circumstances.
I'm not working with Imus
For
now.
any reason.
Because I'll tell myself.
Now, what did you just sign?
Okay,
Robin.
these are signed. I'd say 2 things. Lee
Gungadin wants to know, will Howard spend more time on Buchwald's death than Ben's? We'll have to tune into the dance papers, Gungadin. We got to get dance papers to find out. That's the only way we're going to know. I think so. So. And hopefully this means the end of the show in general. Hopefully this we've had enough. We do not need him doing anything new.
House. Count a signature and email it to my office. Send the hard copies, and Rebecca, do your magic. And that.
What does that mean?
Everything is done now.
Rebecca's involved with.
I think Jamie Foxx is a better actor than Denzel Washington, by the way.
Yeah.
And Chadwick Boseman. Right, Davyd?
Yeah.
In terms of chameleon-like ability, yeah, I think Jamie Foxx is way more talented.
The NBC publicity team and scheme.
Oh, so they can send out an announcement?
Is the authorized signature to countersign the agreement.
All right, I have no idea what you just said. So let
I
me
guess
just say,
now that you've signed, he can sign and everything's done.
He can sign. So now
I believe
it's
Robin.
official. So what did you just do?
I just joined the cast of Glee.
That's not NBC.
You laugh. That would be way more noble than America's Got Talent and more real. It would be way better. There's nothing in that. Go ahead, Davyd. I'm sorry.
He'd replace Chris Colfer as the gay kid, and just it would be perfect.
Or what's her name?
Leah Michelle.
No. The gym teacher.
Jane Lynch.
Jane Lynch. That's what Howard plays.
Totally.
Robin, I've just agreed to be on The Biggest Loser.
Stop it!
They've noticed my weight went up.
Yeah, so Howard came back to the stupid Italy trip you've been hearing about before. He went to Italy, on a private jet with security all around him, big deal. He walks around for 5 minutes. We're making way too big a deal. And then he came back early, apparently, 3 or 4 days, because I guess Beth on Instagram did that stupid pose where she's trying to look all morose and depressed, and who's taking the picture, right? So she's looking down, and Kimmel, I believe, stayed there with Molly. So he came. Jews get buried really fast, right? Is that why he came back so fast? They
see him go into the ground.
Well, they don't like very quickly go to they don't do the thing that Roman Catholics do, where you kind of meander for a while and try to figure out a burial.
I'm actually not clear on that. The difference between I'm not familiar with that stereotype. I'm sure it could be true. Yeah.
I thought it was true. I'm not even. I hear that all the time, and I'm just because like Long Island is where ground zero for Jews and Italians,
right?
And that's my knowledge of North Nassau.
And they agree that I need to lose weight. No, I am very happy to announce the beginning of a new and exciting.
Can you believe NBC and you?
WNBC. You know, Robin, many years ago.
I don't care what it is. If you sign something with NBC, that's amazing.
It just shows you that maybe the Jews and the Palestinians can get along.
Anything can be solved.
You know, when you think about
There's your testicular providence, Davyd, from G Canada. No straight man with actually testicular providence would ever watch a show like AGT, Dancing Star, Idol, etc. I agree. I don't know anyone who does.
I'm gay as a picnic basket, and I don't even watch that show.
Is that a Yogi Bear reference? Or
my career, I've been at war with almost everyone and every network. For a while, CBS, NBC. Yeah. I'm waiting to go to war with ABC.
They haven't come around.
Yeah, I had a greenbacks. Confirms. I'm wondering the same thing. More than likely, the funeral is going to be tomorrow. Thursday is pushing it. Thank you, Ida.
Let me say something very serious right now, Robin, if I may.
Yes.
Yes. As I said, many years ago, I don't know exactly how many years ago, I did work for NBC. I don't know if you remember.
Oh my God, do I remember?
And Don, the day I got fired from NBC and you got fired, and Fred did not get fired that day.
No, he didn't.
He got fired. So.
Could you imagine let's use our own lives. Could you imagine bitching about a job that you had 40 years ago today and still talking about it every 5 minutes? Who would listen to that? That you would could you imagine taking up someone's time, still complaining about a job that you had which led to a better thing, and still complaining about it 40 years later? Who would listen to you?
Exactly. And you failed up, and
yes, he always fails up.
Exactly. And yet you still look to this. I really don't understand it. I don't know if it's part of his Howard Stern character where he's got to kvetch about everything, or I don't know why
he's out of life experiences, Davyd. In order for him to have pain, like we'd say it's like, goth blackface, he's got to reference trauma from 40 years ago. There's no new bad to take its place. You know what I mean? Like
you're
shit over and over.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. It's that WNBC was the last time he was treated wrong. He was wronged in such a way that, like, even though like he got fined by the FCC on K-Rock paid those fines, not Howard.
Yes, that's a great point. Never forget that, what Davyd just said. When he says, I was fined, we were fined. No, the company paid your fines. Not a cent came out of his pocket.
Exactly.
All the time. Don't ever believe it when he says it. Look at how giddy Fred is. You're not on the show. You're not getting a dime from this. You're not on America's Got Talent. You barely have a cameo on Law and Order. You have Sir. Remember the fucking movie he did with Sarah Michelle? Look at the cult of Buchwald here. Look at how you're not on the show. You have nothing to do with this, Fred. What are you so happy about?
Well,
and it's going to make your show, and you look worse too, by the way.
Right. And between Fred and Robin, Howard groomed Fred, and Robin is in love with Howard. So they're both they both give it up to Howard because of different psychological trauma reasons, and they just think that if Howard succeeds, I succeed in some weird way. I mean, they're totally.
I honestly think they think this is going to lead to them getting hired at AGT. I don't know. By the way, Robin would have been a better choice than Howard for the show.
Yeah,
I bet she would have been more caustic. I bet she would have been better. You wouldn't have had to move the show. Robin would have been she would have come at 1/10 the price. She would have been way better than Howard on the show. They should have chose Robin.
The fact they should have the fact that Robin is so not Marcy Turkified would have made her a better judge. She would have, as you say, she would have been more caustic and off the cuff. She may have been stupid, but it would have been in the same way that people lambasted Paula Abdul for being crazy or something, you know?
Yep. Yeah, Robin has just come down with cancer here. She leaves, she starts working from home a little bit after this. This is 2000. I want to say shit. I'm going to tell you exactly when this is. This is December 2011. So it's one of those like vacation cliffhangers where he waited till the last day to go on 3 weeks into, mid-January.
Her cancer vacation was like 2013, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is about a year before that.
If I'd been able to listen to this live, I would have been calling up saying, "Can I talk to Howard? I don't want to hear this crap." They
did. I mean, there were callers that if you listen to the wrap-up show in the next few
you
days,
didn't call though, John.
Well, I wasn't.
Yeah.
I was off. I was done. This year,
yeah.
I was done. I was on like Stern Fan Network dog shit, shitting on the show all the time. I'd listen to the 101 shows, but I was done as a daily. If something happened, I would go back in. But we were full blown hater modes here and shitting on it all the time, and I wasn't catching this.
He was still trying to be cool though back
yes, he still
then, wasn't he? Like he's trying. He wants everyone to think he's 25 years old, but he brings in, of all people, his agent, and it ends up just being two old guys, millionaires.
Yep.
Talking about success, not even talking about failures. An interview you want to go into, have a shades, like let's not just talk about how great we are.
Good catch by you, Frank the Tank. Yes. The Shakespeare stole Romeo and Juliet from 21 Jump Street. Yes, that's exactly right. When Hanson's girlfriend, Amy, dies, that was stolen. That's exactly right. Shakespeare stole everything he got from Jump Street. You're absolutely right.
When Shakespeare wrote that immortal line, Amy, no!
No! Sarah does a great Amy in there. Tom, no!
He was the only one they kept.
Yes, and I believe the traffic cop girl even got fired that day. But Don walked in with a bottle of champagne that day. And he looked at me in the eye and he said, I said, Don, why are you bringing champagne? He said, because this is the best day of your life.
Wow.
The Godfather was, this is going to be an ongoing thing from now on. The Godfather was stolen from a 21 Jump Street episode. There was a Mafia episode in season 1 with Tony Delaplan, right? He was a loan shark and his son was giving loans in the high school with Hanson. That's exactly right. Good catch, Mr. D.
Hosting it. Your career will flourish.
What, Davyd?
Sorry, I was going to say, wouldn't it be funny if like Godfather 3 was actually stolen from a Jump Street plot?
Well, Winona Ryder was supposed to be Coppola in that.
Oh,
and she got sick. And she was supposed to be in the
this is a bizarre conversation to be having.
It is,
John,
right?
John, I sent you that message last night saying I just watched all 3 Godfathers in a row like a few days ago. I can't believe we're on this now.
With the first one. I think Donnie Brasco is better than all of the Godfathers. I'll put it up against it anytime.
I could have done an edit of that movie and cut 30 minutes out of just slow and establishing shots. It's just too much, but it's still fucking epic. The story of it in part 1. Oh.
Francis Ford Coppola, Nicolas Cage's uncle, got Johnny Depp into the business, I might add.
Now, you're stuck at a shithole, is what he said about NBC. Now he's negotiating with them.
Now he's putting you back in the shithole.
And he said, he turned to me with all sincerity and he said, I will never negotiate with these guys again.
I agree, Will Smith's incredibly overrated.
The worst.
He's Mark. Look at Robin. Look at how excited she is. Look at this. You're not on the show.
To me with all sincerity, and he said, "I will never negotiate with these guys again." But anyway, we had.
Hey, times change. We're talking to the Vietnamese, right?
That's right. At the time, I'm not. At the time, we did drink champagne. And
yes, we did.
I didn't fully understand it, but Don was 100% right, and Don has always been right in my career. I can't point to a time where he was wrong. He told me over the years I needed to be on the radio in L.A. He told me whatever he told me I needed to syndicate. Whatever he told me, he was right on 100% the time.
Yes. And what has he told you now?
So for this time, he's completely wrong. No, this is what happened.
Ida Greenback says within 48 hours, Jews have to have funerals. Okay. I thought I heard that right. Thank you, Ida.
Wouldn't it be funny if Howard had Don killed just so he didn't have to stay in Italy too long with the Kimmels?
Somebody said that. So that he had been to France and that he staged the death, or it actually, like Dan's papers, it actually happened like a month ago, and he staged it where he had to go home. That's really funny, and I would not put it past him.
Yeah.
Several months ago, Don received a call from the people at America's Got Talent.
Yes.
I guess that
the lip smacking, right, Bon?
Oh, it's terrible. It's so embarrassing that he's making an announcement about a terrible show that he's going to be on. It's so out of this world.
While getting paid to do it, $4,000 a minute.
Those veneers are just smacking up against the side of his mouth.
Piers Morgan was leaving.
They knew Piers was leaving.
And would I be interested in going on America's Got Talent?
Tamara Francois says, yeah, AGT is better than being on Doolittle or the Transformers. Good call. She's so right.
As a judge. And Don normally doesn't call me. Believe it or not, I get a lot of offers over the years. And some of the offers I've said to Don, don't even tell me about because they're ridiculous. They're just dumb. So when Don called me, he said, I don't even know why I'm telling you this. I know you watch the show. He goes, I don't watch this show. I don't know about this show, but they've offered you this judge thing. I said, I'm interested.
So he doesn't know anything about it, but he does know about Transformers.
Right.
And he turns that down. So he doesn't know anything about this. Why, Bon? Why does he accept it? Money, right?
Oh,
the amount the price, yeah.
No accountability.
And I mean, they were on a losing streak to have Piers Morgan on before Howard. Oh,
that's the company he keeps.
Oh, Piers Morgan is so hard. And then I'm going to check the ratings for the Piers Morgan era, compare them to the Howard era, because I want to know if Piers was bringing it down just as much as Howard did, because, God, they're making
Howard
terrible
killed the ratings. Howard, that's why
decisions on this. Whoever the freaking producers of that show were then were just dumb as hell to have these guys on it. Oh.
Davyd
Listen to me.
Before.
I can't even.
This is Generation X.
I'm screwing up my face with shock. I need some water.
Bon, this is Generation X having being in a position of power, giving him whatever he wants.
Oh God. Oh.
He said, really? I said, I'm interested. I said, I would like to be a judge.
Yeah.
He says, all right, you know what? I'm going to tell them that.
You want the job because they paid you $20 million to do nothing. It's the easiest job on the planet.
Yeah.
You talk for 5 minutes, say nothing. They move the show to New York, so you're getting brought in there on a velvet pillow to do this horrible show. You have no accountability. There's other people that carry it, and you know that, and you think you're cooler than everyone else. It's taking the lowest accountability, least amount of work job in show business.
What was the triangular trade from Sirius to the, distance wise? How far did he have to go from Sirius to the studio where they shot AGT?
Good question, John.
Well, it was on Radio City Music Hall a lot of times, and that's right around the corner. It's literally right next to Saturday Night Live. You can walk there is an understatement. Howard could skulk there, and then occasionally would be in New Jersey. So the worst thing, he took the helicopter from Hell's Kitchen, 12th Avenue and West Side Highway to Jersey. I think it was Newark or one of the arenas they have that are unused. And that was the biggest, and occasionally he had to do stuff and they would fly him out. So there's nothing about this. It's the easiest gig and he knows it, and that's why he took it. It's a network job where he's speaking for 5 minutes, and he's still obsessed with vanity over it.
So he went and told a gentleman, Paul Telegdi. Who else was in that
Paul
meeting?
Telegdi.
Oh, my Paul Telegdi over here.
Meredith who's the executive producer, and Bob Greenblatt, who's the chairman of NBC.
Right, and Bob Greenblatt. And everyone at NBC was very high on this idea. So
wow,
graciously,
things do change.
They do. Well, all the shitheads.
I mean, the top of NBC thought you were horrible.
Robin, let's make it clear. All the shitheads who thought I was horrible at NBC are gone. Because they were incompetent, which we knew at the time. And so this began a new era. And it's
Crazy Robin says, Davyd, I must challenge you on this. Robin has never been in love with Howard. She's just indebted to him about the bread. Yeah, isn't it the same thing? She's in love with him for drafting.
I don't know.
If you read her book, like, she was obsessed with Howard because I think it was the first man who, and I know her book is full of lies, but I actually think she was truthful about her feelings about Howard. Like, she got really obsessed with Howard for some reason. And I don't know, and they hadn't been working together that long, but she was always calling Allison about, like, is Howard mad? Like, she was using Allison as like a go-between for her emotional issues with Howard. And I don't know, I at best they're like dysfunctional siblings because they are very similar in their narcissism. But I don't know, who knows what it is.
A lot of it comes, like I'm getting the vibe, like from the Robin episodes, John, that you did with Benjamin. Benjamin felt that she was in love with him, but when she realized he wasn't attracted to her, she just sucked up. So I think there's credence to that she was in love with him. And I don't know, it wouldn't surprise me if she still was in love with him.
Yeah, and I
think Benjamin's in love with Runner's World magazine.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say that Robin to me is the ultimate fag hag, where she's like, she knows she's in love with a gay guy, but she still wants to hang around with him because the gay guy is going to be non-threatening. He's going to treat her right. There's a lot of that kind of relationship that they have. A lot of aspects of that kind of relationship that they have, so anyway.
I hate men, but I'm not a lesbian.
Or she's
It's not even NBC anymore. It's NBCU. One company,
what
by
is
the way.
you?
It's one company, not two.
I didn't know about you.
Right, yeah. But that's another story.
Thank you, G Canada. That is so generous of you and unnecessary. Thank you. We can't wait to have you back. There's Chris Benoit on the bottom. Thank you, G Canada. Thank you for sitting in and doing a real fun, brilliant job on the Baldwin trial. Everybody loves G Canada, right? It's not too polarizing.
Not at all.
They admit to being one company.
Is that right? You sure?
Yeah. Anyway, by the way, you and I have always been thrilled with the people at NBCU because we know Comcast and we know we're at Howard TV and they've given me tremendous opportunities. So I was very, very excited about perhaps talking with these people because I know they're honest, good people. Mm-hmm. And so they flew in on a private plane just to meet with me.
That'll be a show down the road, Sunflower Dragon, about when did you went into full hater mode? When was the defining moment for you to turn on the show?
Yeah. By the way, when he says they're honest, good people, it means the cashier's check cleared.
That's it. That's all honesty means to him. You're absolutely right.
I'm going to save that as a drop, Davyd. You couldn't have put it better. I'm going to have everyone listening. I am going to do a major collection of Davyd drops. I'm saying it right now.
Oh my God.
I know you've used some incredible words, some that I've never heard of before. You've made statements. You're going to be immortal. You're going to be shocked. You're going to hear your voice. John's had to deal with it for the last few years, and Sarah was perhaps stunned the first time she heard me.
It's my turn.
Drop her back. So prepare for that. And just while we're at it, he's Stuttering John beating on Buchwald.
There's a guy I would love to fucking throw a beating to is Don Buchwald. He was such a dick. Such a fucking greedy dick.
Wow. Bon, tremendous get by you on the last minute. That's what Was that? Did you have that, or did you just got it while we were doing?
You know that? No, yeah, I had it in my collection. I went through and found it. Yeah, that was
Keep
him
that
on
as
that.
a drop, please. Keep that for us at this drop.
Yeah, isn't he just vicious? He said that as he brandished a Coors Light in his other hand with the pinky finger showing as he drinks it. He's disgusting, man.
We're gonna wrap it up soon. Look at Sarah. Wrap it up, boys. Look at Liz Cheney. Leave them wanton more. Wanton is a word. Is a $5 Davyd word. Wanton, right?
Yeah.
I thought she was using wanton as a word. My cousin's nickname is Anton, so we used to call him Wonton Anton.
They did.
10% of
Now, immediately, I was pumped up with myself.
Of
impressed.
course.
I wanted to.
I'm sorry, Bon. You did a Sarah drop.
I wish you 10% of the happiness I have in my life.
There it is.
Bon probably has like 30 Sarah drops, right? It was at least.
I don't buy that whatsoever.
Clayface, Livewire, and Mist were all discovered to have Hatter's nanotech in their systems. And it cost him, because I anonymously forwarded the evidence we gathered to the authorities.
Good for you, Sarah.
I will cook him macaroni and cheese. My name is Sarah. My name is Sarah. My name is Sarah.
We could put a beat behind that, couldn't we, Davyd?
Yeah.
It's
man.
It's so brilliant that you're doing this, because here we have Fred, and you're showing him how to do his own job right in front of him on this.
I try.
Dr. Katz's office?
God damn it, that's such a good class.
Just to meet with me. They did. Immediately, I was pumped up with myself.
Of
impressed.
course.
I wanted to run to you and say, "You're not going to believe it. These guys are flying in from
NBC
California."
is
That's
coming.
right.
Yeah, this Red Bar I'm obsessed with. He does 8-hour shows. He does one show a week for like 8 or 9 hours and just breaks. It's clipped all over YouTube, and he just eviscerates all these grifter comedians. You're so sick of.
Oh yeah,
Especially the Rogan guys, especially goes after.
Oh, I saw him destroy Stuttering John in a clip. He plays a clip of John and then points at the screen and goes, "See this? This is what we need to get rid of from this world."
Yes.
Really harsh.
His
Really
most hated
true.
guy is Chris D'Elia, the pedo. That's his biggest target.
So anyway, I that day the five of us met right here, and we were sitting and talking.
Right here, where? You mean in New York?
Right in New York,
Okay.
right in the studio. They came. They
came here?
Well, I had a nap first.
Oh.
So I mean, I was working back in my office first, and so I came out.
So stupid that TM shit he does after the show.
Yeah.
Go home. You're 1 mile away from the studio. We don't think you work hard. Just go the fuck home. Stop napping in the goddamn office as a power play that you want everyone to creep around you with the shusher. Go the fuck home.
Out of my work area, my office, and I came in here and we had a long discussion. And I began, normally in a meeting you let them talk, but I don't do
You
that.
didn't do that.
I began my treatise on America's Got Talent. I began to talk about America's Got Talent and what I feel was right and what I feel was wrong and where the show should go in the future.
You had a better father, Chris Benoit. So here's Howard dazzling the executives, which are all super fans of his, that he knows America's Got Talent, and that's why they're going to hire
Feel
him.
was right and what I feel was wrong and where the show should go in the future. And I gave a 1-hour discourse on America's
a
Got
lecture
Talent. They got a lecture. They were like, "Hey, asshole, we're here to tell you.
It's our show."
It's our show."
Thank you, Frank the Tank, from Sarah. I didn't see that. Thank you, Frank the Tank. You are a mensch, sir. We are lucky to have each and every one of you in the chat. Frank is a great guy. I don't say great guy. There's this Trump story I heard with Trump had his assistant filling out all these cards for people in his life. And so Melania I guess it was the anniversary or the birthday. And he had his assistant or someone fill out a card that said, you're a very great guy, DJT. And he gave that card to Melania Trump.
Oh my God.
DJT, you're a very great guy.
Right. Call me in bed, DJT.
That's an aphrodisiac, right?
Yeah.
I get Stormy Daniels.
Morning birthday night.
show and you're lecturing us. Did I lecture for an hour?
Lectured. I took notes.
Oh my goodness!
I looked over at Don. He was asleep in his chair. He could have cared less.
That's Carl Reiner, Chris Benoit. That's the bald Jewish guy. It's Don Buchwald, Howard's agent, who passed away, we think, yesterday. But for all we know, and Dan's papers knows, it could have been a month ago. Although, according to Ida Greenbacks, Jews get buried within 48 hours.
I'll wake up when the work is ready to be done.
Don was like, I really.
If he'll ever stop.
Well, one of the things Don has taught me in business is to let people talk and to listen, and I've never been able to do that.
Yeah, you haven't done it yet.
Right.
All right, good enough. Melvin says, Melvin's doing the Chris Farley show, I think, here. He's going, Chris, you remember the time you went crazy and killed your entire family? You remember? Anyway, guys, Bon, anything to promote for you? You did a brilliant job on drops again. I'm very happy with this show. This is probably the threesome I think that'll most be regularly the three of us. Sarah's more intermittently in the Barbara Gordon role. As you guys, I'm not saying it's every Tuesday. It's when the most of us are available, and you know me and my mental illness. So, Bon, you have any drops you want to dazzle us with?
Yeah, I just have. I think a great way to. We've mentioned Stuttering John so much. He's Stuttering John talking to you, John.
You know, I asked Arm a question. Why don't you respond to my DMs? Why not?
There you go. That's it for me. Thanks, everyone. Thank you all for listening.
So
and
great.
it's actually been really nice to see so many people tuning in and leaving really nice comments. We appreciate
it's a great community. It's the most. It's the opposite. It's the antithesis of toxic, which is kind of crazy. In the Stern community, you meet a lot of sociopaths. You meet a lot of really, really shady sociopaths. Creepy, and these are the best of the best. I feel in terms of this community.
Hell yeah.
Tamara was in love with George Michael.
Arm, as you would say, the thinking man Stern fan.
Yes, that's exactly what I feel this is. Without jerking myself off, we are the thinking man Stern fans. We're not done with this, so we're going to come back again. We're going to circle back to the Sirius. I knew this would take up the whole time, and I guess Buchwald deserves it, right? I mean, he is the architect for all the things we hate. He needs this send off. I'm glad I could throw this together. I really like when I found.
I love the work. I knew you, John. You put in a whole evening, I believe, on that, getting that together. I love your work. And Davyd, look, the Simmons trilogy eulogy was beautiful. I appreciate that.
So good, A+. And what a debut for Davyd on the show, right? I think
that was beautiful.
I'm going to tout this as the best Stern podcast debut in the history of the sport by one individual.
Well,
he had practice and stuff. It's like Ben Simmons, sitting out a year and then playing, winning Rookie of the Year. But I do stand by that.
Oh, no, I think yours was, John. While I agree with you, I think your debut in, let's say, April 2015, I think it was maybe, that was the ultimate. I think everybody, that's our man.
Was, Chet Hayes, Bond.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Chet Hayes, Tom Hanks' son, and that was the great Adam Levy. Maybe we can have him on and revisit that. With when I tweeted it and all the publications kind of took out. Let me read this Buchwald thing to end it, because this is from Variety, and I guess I'll end it after this. Share screen. Come on. Oh, what? Don't do this to me now. No, come on. Here it is. Tell me if you see this. Is it coming up for you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Super 8. This is from Variety. This is they finally. This is July 23rd. They finally all decide. Okay, he's dead, and they all pounced, and they all. Thanks to Tim Sabian, by the way, had to be, who lit the fuse. Super Agent Don Buchwald, longtime agent to Howard Stern, founder of the Buchwald Talent Agency, died Tuesday in his New York home. He was 88. I promise, but he read on a 91-year-old level. I promise my same age as Davyd. I promised my father that the incredible agency he built from the ground up 47 years ago would not only continue to flourish, but will evolve as we forge our path ahead, wrote his daughter, Julia Buchwald, the president of the Buchwald West Coast office, in a statement. I, along with my devoted teammates, intend to keep this promise and make Don proud. Buchwald is best known as the agent of the loudmouth radio personality Howard Stern, who had been his client since 1984. Stern often referred to Buchwald, who was also his close friend and collaborator, as super agent on episodes of the Howard Stern Show. In an interview with the New York Times, Stern said that everyone in Hollywood should have a Don Buchwald in their life. He went on to gush that he would never want to be without him, and I don't need anyone else in my life but him. It sounds like a love song, but it is. In 1977, Buchwald founded his talent agency, Don Buchwald and Associates, which has been rebranded to just Buchwald, with a team of just 5 agents in New York. His rapid success allowed him to expand his agency with the opening of a second office in 1992. The Buchwald staff has since grown into around 130 employees. It looks like it's got a hyphen there. 130 employees representing clientele from various media and entertainment backgrounds across both coasts. Buchwald is survived by his wife of almost 60 years, Maggie, and his daughters, Julia and Laura Buchwald.
Okay.
God,
I just
That's touching.
Yeah.
I just followed Julia Buchwald on LinkedIn, so we'll see if she follows me back.
Oh, good call. There you go.
I bet she's getting a lot of that today. So I want to thank everybody one last time from Mark Harris, because Sarah will kill me if I don't do this. Come on. Dearest viewers, a new month and a new show. If able, please donate to the Arm Fund, which is how your host gets paid. Super Chat, Venmo, Cash App, or memberships. It all counts. We'll all go. Now put your face in the buttermilk and take a sip. Oh, I love the knee. Welcome to a new Arm venture. How do you keep the music playing? How do you make it last? How do you keep the song from playing too fast?
Oh, beautiful.
Howdy.